What is up, NFC West football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC West Roundtable. Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season is in the books. 3 victors within the division. 1 lone loss in the battle of the hat. We dive into recapping what we saw in week 1 tonight on the NFC West Roundtable. And on the back half of the show, we look ahead to week 2. Thoughts and predictions of all the games within the division coming up this upcoming weekend. Before we dive into it, one final reminder. We are 22 days away from the NFC West Roundtable event live from LA at SoFi Stadium. 22 days until the event the night before. 23 days until the big showdown between the Niners and the Rams. We are this close to being sold out. Just 1 or 2 remain if you want to go. Link in the description below. Get after it now. It'll be gone ASAP. Just a couple of tickets left. Wanted to make sure I let you guys know right at the top. If you are interested, I don't want you to miss out. Get in on it. Link down below. All right, with that out of the way, without further ado, let's break down some regular season NFL football. Let's bring in the fellas. Brando, Mike, Jesse, and Jake. Did the hat get lost in transit, or are we? What's the deal here?
Good question.
It's expedited.
You did. You paid for the premium shipping, did you?
It's coming. It is. We agreed to it beforehand. We said we'd give it the next week. So
okay.
Z-Box.
All right, man. I was kind of hoping we'd see it tonight, but I guess we'll have to wait till next week. A little extra.
It's a doozy, guys. I'm telling you, it's a doozy. I cannot wait.
If get an immediacy, we'll make up for it. Did
you pick up the hat or the Jesse?
So you're telling me this is not an ordinary hat from what I'm taking it here.
Oh no.
This is a quite unordinary hat. Yes. Let's just put it that way. He went deep, and I would give him a lot of hell for it and say that he was being childish and immature, but I was about to put on his head something probably much worse. So I have to just shut my mouth and take it.
Well, I guess a little extra incentive to make sure you tune in right where you're at next week is not only will you get the week 2 recap, you will get whatever the hat is going to be on top of Brandon. And now I'm very interested to find out what this could potentially be. Let's talk about how we got there. Let's get right after it. No time to waste. Let's talk about the battle of the hat. Let's talk about the interdivisional battle between the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers all the way down to the wire. Low scoring. And it winds up resulting in a San Francisco 49ers W, 17-13. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks with an opportunity to steal it at the end. And something happened at the end that was called out before it even happened. Nostradamus style by our very own Jesse. Take a peek at what we saw from Jesse prediction-wise before this game even kicked off.
I bank on that eventually being a decider in this game. I really could see a scenario where the Seahawks are driving. They just need a field goal to win, and then Sam Darnold gets sacked and fumbles because Nick Bosa gets a hold of him. I don't trust Sam Darnold at all, and I do trust Brock Purdy.
Jesse also won the Mega Millions last week, but he won it under an alias. So if you're looking at Jesse's hat collection behind him, it might get a little bigger. There's going to be some signs because clearly he knows what he's talking about. Jesse, you nailed it to a T. That's what ended up happening. Sam Darnold right down in scoring position. Bosa off the edge. Out comes the ball. Now, he didn't necessarily strip it himself, but he shoved a Seahawks lineman into Darnold, and that's all it took. Ball game. Niners recover. Niners get the W. Tons to break down in this one, but as always, we'll start with the 2 that weren't involved. Mike, I'll start with you here first. You have your victory shades on. We'll get to your Cardinals W over the Saints in a bit, but talk to me about what you saw in the battle of the hat, Niners and Seahawks. What were your big takeaways from the Niners victory?
I actually had the privilege to watch this game. Like, it was actually on air, so I finished my game and I was watching it. This was an entertaining battle, but this is kind of what it goes when it comes down to the NFC West, right? Like the gritty, you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day, right? And I kind of felt like the 49ers were going to edge it out. It doesn't matter if they're going through all these injuries. Like, they always kind of find a way to kind of make it work. And that's why I had the 49ers winning this game. But like overall, I'm not going to come out here and like bash on Sam Darnold. I mean, I think he actually played a pretty respectable game. I mean, it's week 1. I feel like a lot of the teams played very, very mediocre, like Cardinals included. Like Sam Darnold was like 16 for 23, 150, right? But went pretty crazy in terms of yardage goes. But like Christian McCaffrey, right? X factor. He's going to be that guy. And then obviously Ricky Pearsall, but they also finished this game without Kittle as well as Juwan Jennings. So like, I'm actually very surprised that they edged that out. I'm not going to lie to you. The moment that I saw Kittle leave and Juwan Jennings not be able to finish the game, I was going to message you guys and be like, let me switch my pick over. Cause like, this was really a deciding factor of like Christian McCaffrey and the rest of the weapons that they ended up happening. But kudos over to Brock Purdy for winning this game. And it was a tight one. That last touchdown shouldn't have been a touchdown, but that big guy, that tight end ended up coming, just basically swooping it away from that cornerback. So it was entertaining, man, from the beginning all the way to the end. I don't expect anything less from a NFC West rival or division battle. I was excited. It was really good game. And I'm not surprised with the results, if I'm going to be real.
That throw from Brock Purdy you're referring to, I think maybe everybody thought that was picked off until it wasn't. Touchdown Niners, that really wound up being the difference. Speaking of interceptions, that one wasn't, but Brock Purdy did throw 2. Outside of that, though, he had 2 touchdowns, 26 of 35. We'll talk a little bit about the injuries in a bit because he got banged up in this game. But Brock Purdy, despite throwing 2 interceptions, was able to will this team to victory. Mike, you touched on it. Christian McCaffrey, I thought it was deja vu all over again. Fantasy players, right? Drafting Christian McCaffrey round 1. He's back. He's ready right before week 1. You're hearing the rumblings, but there was no shying away from giving Christian McCaffrey a full workload in this game. 22 carries, 69 yards, heavily involved in the pass game as well. That helped result in a Niners W. Jake, you're watching this one. You're getting a vibe for these 2 divisional foes. Your big takeaway from both the Seahawks and the Niners on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, after watching the All-22 on this one, there were a few things that really stood out to me. JSN is ready to become a superstar. Sam Darnold played a fine game, left some things on the field. Cooper Kupp is not washed, still can find separation, can still get open, just wasn't really utilized as much as I think he should have been. I'm a little out on Kenneth Walker, wasn't really impressed. I'm out on Christian McCaffrey as a running back. I think he should at this point just be a wide receiver. He still has the receiving ability. Trent Williams has taken a step back. Now, this is just week 1, of course. All of this can be untrue as the course of the season. The thing that really stood out to me, Seattle's defense is for real. Although you have an issue with Woolen, gave up 158.3, which is a perfect targeted passer rating. So I look at Josh Jobe, and I look at Devin Witherspoon, and I see, as long as this Seattle team is as good as I believe them to be, they'll be in contention. And I think right around the deadline, they should be trying to acquire another corner. I don't know who that is. I don't know who will be available at that point, but I really would be trying to acquire another corner to play because I don't think Woolen is it. In addition to that, Brock Purdy throwing into quadruple coverage, throwing to that, a covered Jake Tungus. I don't know if I said his name right, but Tonjes. The point being is Brock Purdy, I was not overly impressed with. He got out of this one with a win. There were some lucky throws that ended up going his way. I don't think he was terrible, but I don't think he was great. And the last thing I'll say is this. The 49ers have an absolute dog, and I want to give Jesse a lot of credit because he said this early on in the offseason when we were doing these shows. And Upton Stout is going to be one of the better nickels in the league. He is an absolute dog. I watched him covering Cooper Kupp. He's going to be fun to watch for a long time. Really physical. I think he pairs well with Lenore. So I think the 49ers have just a certified baller in Upton Stout. So those were my takeaways from watching. I'm not overly high on the 49ers after this game. I think Seattle is only going to get better with that offense. But the 49ers end up winning this game. So, kudos to them.
Brandon, a lot of what we thought was going to happen with Seattle happened in this game, right? Sam Darnold, he was efficient enough. The defense was great, holding the Niners to 17 points, forcing multiple turnovers. How about JSN stepping up in a big way, as Jake just alluded to? 16 completions for Sam Darnold, 9 of those 16 going to JSN for $124. And then you would have thought this was going to be a ground and pound type team that was going to win on the ground and through the defense. They did end up running the ball more than they threw it, but they do score 13 points as a result. They're unable to get it done. And Jake also touched on Woolen there. He was the guy who felt like he was going to get that interception on that 50-50 ball from Brock Purdy that wound up being caught for a touchdown. So as well as the defense played, as efficient as the offense was at times, didn't result in the outcome you were looking for, Brandon. So your big takeaways here in the Seahawks' first loss of the season in week 1.
I think that we can't first undersell the fact and perspectively wise that this is the 49ers B team. Jesse himself came out of my channel early in the week, and I asked him to measure this up against the Super Bowl team just from a couple years ago, the first one Niner team that went to that. And I said, where's this team at? And he's quite far off from where they were. And then not only that, you have all those aforementioned guys that they got injured, Kittle losing in the first half, Juwan Jennings nowhere near where he has been even last year, having missed a training camp. Not only was this you facing the Niners, this is you facing a Niner team that was clearly in a diminished state and primed for you to take the opportunity to do so. And instead, you laid an egg. I don't think I agree with Jake that I know that this defense is necessarily good. I know they had some good pressure numbers on Brock, but he was also a top 5 quarterback on the day, and his time to throw within the pocket, his time, basically, he held onto the ball the 5th longest of any quarterback on average in the sport. So it was either feast or famine as far as the pass rush goes, and you gave up almost 400 yards on the day. Again, without any real of those playmakers that have been out there in the past. No Deebo Samuel, no Brandon Ayuk, no Kittle. You have Brian Robinson that you bring in like a week and a half prior that you bring in there is just learning the playbook, getting substantial amount of carries and snaps. This should be a game, if you're a really great defense, if you're that team, you put this type of team to bed, especially, by God, when you're playing at home. And then when you flip it over to the offensive side of the ball, I have like shades of us getting Waldron when we were getting him from McVay. We're hoping to get this one style of offense, and then it's this whole complete different thing on the field that I'm watching. The Seattle Seahawks were under center out of play action, the fewest of any team in the league save for one team. They were 31st, 8% of the time under center running play action instead of living in shotgun. That was the Ryan Grubb offense from last year. That's all it was. And again, we don't have very good run blocking up front in this game throughout. You've got multiple guys getting blown up around that line. The Niners controlled you on both lines of scrimmage throughout this game. Is there some good parts that you can maybe pick to in this game? I thought Darnold, yes, did play well. And JSN was good, but even in the JSN, he's got a really tough drop in this game that's brutal. He's got a fumble that comes at the absolute worst time. This is a game where the Niners walked out their B team. Brock Purdy spotted you 2 interceptions. Their kicker couldn't put it through the uprights if he was standing from 5 feet away, and yet you still let him walk away with the win. I have a hard time finding the silver linings walking out of this one. And the view of this is not that the Seahawks season's changed in my eyes and that they're now suddenly diminished and they're not going to get anything done. But I was looking at this team to take that next step, gentlemen, to look to go forward and become actually a contending team, to be able to ride with the Niners and ride with the Rams. And I do think that there's still potentially a playoff push in them and what they can do and with the schedule that they get to operate off of. But I do have to say, it does change a little bit of the outlook of the top end of this team in my eyes.
Brandon, just looking at the numbers here, right? They just didn't have the ball nearly enough to try and get enough points to surpass San Francisco here. You're looking at time of possession, 38 minutes to Seattle's 22. They only run 50 plays, 3 of 10 on third down. What was the most frustrating element of this game? Because you have multiple turnovers forced. You do get in scoring territory at the end to try and win it. You turn it over then. You just mentioned how you didn't feel as though this team looked like they were taking the next step you were hoping they were going to. When you're watching this one, amongst all the takeaways, what was the one thing that stood out that you were most shocked by in a disappointing way that you thought was going to be different?
It's the things that you can control. If you look at the top 10 quarterback play in this sport in week 1, it's all guys that were at or near the league and operating under center out of play action. More 12 personnel this year. That's better to be under center than it is in shotgun. So you be at the far other end of that scale is something that was controllable. And I just don't understand how you go through a full offseason to prepare for this 49er game and you're saying, yeah, we're going to run 8% of under center stuff here. It just makes no sense. And you could have controlled that. That's the offense we thought we were supposed to be getting. We're done with the air raid. That's the point of throwing it out last year. We're supposed to be getting under center stuff, rollouts, use some of the legs of Sam Darnold occasionally. And again, you mentioned about the time of possession, which is a little bit reflective of the offense, but guess what? The Niners were moving the ball throughout the day. It wasn't just after the defense was getting all of these great stops and then just suddenly they wore out and collapsed. This is where the defense has to own its share of the bargain here, where you allow the 400 yards, you allow conversions of third downs endlessly. I mean, Jesse, what were they on the day? 9 of 16 collectively in third and fourth down. That does then come back to the defense too. So it's like there's a heaping here of portion to give out of blame kind of to all parts on this, but the shotgun, the proliferation of shotgun with a Shanahan offense, what are we doing?
Brandon, I know the biggest highlight for you amongst, hoping the defense was going to be what this team was going to go through this year, it was the run game. They finished the day with 84 total yards. And then when you're looking at the air game, yeah, JSN has a great day, but outside of that, there was nobody else that seemed to be a factor in the pass game. So when you're looking at the offense, was the run game just not what you were expecting going into this one, finishing with less than 85 yards total on the day?
It's harder to run the ball out of shotgun unless you have a quarterback keeper type QB that can actually hold the edges. If you have a guy that's just about average mobility, maybe even slightly above average, you need a real dangerous guy on that to be able to make that work for as much the running back as for the quarterback who can go get the yards, because now those edges have to hold a little bit and now they have to play it a little bit more straight up. So you running so much shotgun, and then that when you were under center, because you only ran 8% of your play action was when you were under center, I mean that only 8% of the time was it a fake, which meant 92% of the time you were actually running the ball when you were under center, which meant you were very predictable about those times when you did get under center. San Fran by the second quarter knew when you were going to run and knew where you were going to pass. That's the problem here, is you were highly predictable across the board in this way. Think about that, 90+%. That's going to, any smart defensive coordinator, say nothing of Robert Saleh worth their salt, is going to figure it out that right quick in a football game.
Jesse, it's a bit remarkable the Niners won this game when you think about the setbacks they faced in this game, right? Brock Purdy, 2 interceptions. You lose George Kittle. Juwan Jennings gets banged up. Brock Purdy gets banged up. Jake Moody, 1 of 3 on field goals, something I know was a concern of yours going into the season throughout the offseason here. Despite all that divisional battle, they find a way to win. Talk to me about what you saw, your big takeaways, and then also, if you could, touch a little bit on the litany of injuries the Niners unfortunately suffered in this ball game.
Yeah, well, I want to piggyback a little bit on what Brandon said about running out of shotgun. 2 years ago, the Eagles were thought to have been washed after a Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs. And I think a big reason for that is because they wouldn't stop running out of shotgun. I thought it was a disaster type of game plan. And they do have a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts. It's still not ideal. You don't want to just solely run out of shotgun. I think it's a quick way to lose games. And I think we saw that with Seattle this week. Definitely surprised with the way that the flow of the game went. Yes, I certainly had them winning 17-16 and had the last play right and all those things, but the flow was not what I expected. I didn't expect George Kittle to get injured and Jennings to be hurt and, have to rely solely on Pearsall to make these plays. And so there was a lot that happened. I'm going to start with a couple question marks, not necessarily negatives, but question marks. And then I'm going to go into some of the things that were very positive. Trent Williams, the big question coming out of this game is he washed, or is he out of shape, or was it just a bad game? But in pure pass rush sets, he gave up as many pressures as the rest of the team. That's not the Trent Williams we remember. Now, Trent Williams is a player who does rely on his athleticism. And relying on your athleticism at that age, sometimes the athleticism can go very, very quickly. So we will have to monitor this situation. But if Trent Williams is not even close to who he's been in the past, that is a scary proposition. Obviously, you touched on the injuries, Z-Bot. Certainly, George Kittle is now out for the next 4 weeks. Unfortunately, when we do that event, shout out to that. Link is in the description. Make sure you get your tickets. When we do that event, he's not going to play in that game. He's going to miss the next 4, bare minimum. And the schedule is not the easiest. They got the Saints. That certainly should be a win. But would I be shocked without George Kittle and Ayuk and some of these other guys that if they went on a 3-game bender losing to the Cardinals, Jags, and Rams? No, I wouldn't. It's going to be very hard. And then the last thing is obviously Jake Moody. Finally got rid of him, but he was a disaster in this game. The fact that he even made it to week 1 is beyond me, completely baffled, but he did. And now they are searching for a kicker, or were until they signed Pinheiro. We'll see how that goes. Kickers are a quote unquote a dime a dozen sometimes, but this late in the game is not ideal. Now, here are some positives. The defense was phenomenal. Robert Saleh is, as advertised, extremely good defensive coordinator. And to do it with the amount of rookies that he had to roll out there, absolutely incredible. Marquis Siegel, rookie, balled out at safety. D. Winters finally starting to show his play and his aggression is coming to fruition. Very similar to Dre Greenlaw as far as build, his style of play, but he was a bit too reckless. He would overrun tackles or over pursue players, miss tackles. He's starting to get that under control, and he's the exact type of player that you want next to Fred Warner. He's a thumper, and he brings the juice. So that was great to see. And the rookies, Collins and West, neither of them really contributed, 16 total snaps, but thank God they've got Kalia Davis, who they've had for a few years. He's always shown flashes of talent, but he can't stay healthy. He was absolutely dominant in the interior of that defensive line, so those were some bright spots. Ricky Pearsall offensively was an absolute stud. Loved seeing him. But I think the biggest thing is this. What I talked about going into the season is that one thing that the 49ers should gain from this season is how to win close games. And I didn't necessarily know if it would happen week 1 or not, but Purdy was able to pull through. They were able to get that win. Although I think there was some questionable clock management once again from Kyle Shanahan. He's got to figure it out. Luckily, he got bailed here, but ultimately this team is not the juggernaut that they once were, which means they are going to constantly be in these battles, one-score games, and they are not used to that. They're used to blowing teams out, and when they've been in close games, traditionally, they have not fared well. So I think for the future of the 49ers, this year is not a Super Bowl team. I totally understand that. But for the future, these young players need to know what it's like playing in close games and gain the confidence that they can win them. This was about as good of a start as you could have overall. Kudos to them. Great week 1 win, and we'll see what it looks like the rest of the year.
Real quick, how do you assess this Brock Purdy game, right? You do have 2 interceptions, but he was able to come up when it mattered, and he does get 2 touchdowns, including that one that just felt like it was going to go the other way until it didn't. And then on top of that, how do you also factor in having Christian McCaffrey back? Even though the rushing numbers weren't crazy, he does have over 100 all-purpose yards, and just his sheer presence has to make this offense completely different than when you don't have him.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to bag on Purdy. I went into the game and said that this is a good Seattle defense. So I'm not going to come in and act as if after the fact that it's not, because it is. I respect that defense big time. I respect McDonald. He knows exactly how to play the Shanahan offense. And my prediction before the game was 17 points, and that's exactly what they got. They could have had more if Moody wasn't a sucker, but that's life. So ultimately, 2 picks. He had 4 boneheaded passes in that game. 2 of them were picked. 1 resulted in a game-winning touchdown, and then 1, the jump pass. I don't know what that was. But this is who Brock Purdy's been since college. He is a bit of a YOLO player. He's going to continue to be a YOLO player, but he's also a player who plays with supreme confidence no matter what's going on around him, and that is what makes him a good quarterback. So you kind of live by the sword, you die by the sword. Unfortunately, there was some times in that game where it looked bad, but when he needed it most, he was able to make plays, use his legs, and get it done. So I'll take the win. On the road, week 1 games are squirrely. On the road, games are squirrely. In division, games can be squirrely, and you're playing a tough defense. I'm going to cut him some slack. They won the game. He did what he needed to do when he needed to do it. That was fantastic. And what was the other question that you had?
Just Christian
CMC.
McCaffrey being back, yeah.
Yeah, CMC certainly is a difference maker, especially in the pass game. I don't know if CMC, in fact, I'm pretty positive, and I talked about it this offseason, that CMC is not going to be the explosive offensive player of the year that we saw in 2023, especially in the run game. However, he is an absolute threat as a receiver. You can tell that when he's on the field that Brock Purdy's just supremely confident. He always knows he has the dump off option in CMC, and that makes his life easier. He plays with a lot more confidence. He uses CMC, almost spams him at times, knowing that he's there and he'll make a play. So he's going to be very effective in the pass game. He's still a very good player. He's just not 2023 CMC. And truth be told, they need to figure out how to spell him a little bit more. 31 touches in game 1 is not ideal coming off of lower leg injuries. and they need him throughout the course of this season. So they've got to figure that out a little bit better here.
Big Niners W for sure. Any divisional game is. They have the Saints coming up this week. We'll talk about that later in the show. So you think 2-0 is on the horizon. Meanwhile, Seahawks lose a heartbreaker here. They have a Steelers team that they're playing next week that all of a sudden features an Aaron Rodgers that maybe could be prime Aaron Rodgers, or maybe the Jets defense is just absolutely horrid. I guess we'll find out this upcoming week. We'll talk about both those week 2 matchups in a bit. Right around the corner here, we're going to talk about the 2 W's in the division for the Cardinals and the Rams. Before we touch on that, let's touch on our friends over at RotoWire's fantasy tools that they have at your disposal. And you might be wondering, well, I already did my drafts. The season started. Why do I need any more fantasy tools? You never needed them more, because now is the time to put that roster to work and win your matchups. RotoWire has you covered. They have everything you need to make sure you have an edge each and every week, including one of my favorite tools, and that's the NFL strength of schedule for fantasy football. You can look at the strength of schedule for every position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, everything in between. That way you know who to start and maybe who to sit depending on who they're playing. I find it funny. They have the easiest strength of schedule for Tua Tagovailoa, yet anybody playing them this upcoming season would probably have the same outcome. That might be the quarterback or the defense you might want to start based on what we saw against Daniel Jones and company on Sunday. But regardless, you have it all at your disposal here on RotoWire. Link in the description below gets you 15% off a premium subscription with the promo code RTS. Also, while you're down in the description, check out our friends over at Swivel. This is awesome. All you do is click the link and you click this button right here, add to Chrome. It'll be an extension that adds to your Chrome browser. From there, it's a one-stop hub for everything Roundtable. So you'll get all the YouTube videos, all the Instagram posts, and all the Twitter posts all in one spot. No need to jump from platform to platform. So if you are locked into Roundtable Sports like we know you are, download that Chrome extension and you'll be able to get all of your Roundtable gear, or not gear, whatever I'm trying to say, posts and whatever content. Yeah, thank you. How many times I use the word content a day and I forget it right now? You get all your content in one place. All right. Speaking of content, we got some good content to talk about right here. 2 W's within the division. One for Jake's Rams, one for Mike's Cardinals. Mike, I want to start with you here because throughout the offseason, we were talking about Kyler Murray, and we're talking about what it's going to look like with him and Marvin Harrison Jr. in week 2. Well, we saw a pretty decent game from Marvin Harrison Jr. in week 1 that helped the Cardinals get the 20-13 W over the New Orleans Saints. Might have been a little bit more of a battle than you were hoping for, Mike, but a win regardless over the Saints on the road to kick off week 1. Kyler Murray finishes with an efficient day, 21-29, 163, and 2 touchdowns. That was enough to get it done for Arizona. Jake, I'll start with you here. Cardinals get it done by a touchdown, hold the Saints to 13 points. We don't expect a lot from New Orleans this year, so maybe you were expecting this to be a bit more lopsided, but it is a victory. We know how fluky week 1 is. Cardinals get it done. Your big takeaways from Sunday.
It's funny because off air, Brandon and I ended up talking for like an hour after last show, and we actually talked about this game. And I was saying, I kind of kept looking at this roster. I'm like, I think this roster is pretty good. The Saints, and really it's just the quarterback. And to my surprise, and I say this because I really like Spencer Rattler coming out of the draft, but I never really saw him as somebody that would be a starting quarterback this early on in his career. He really impressed me. I thought he made some really good throws, really good timing throws. I know PFF gave him 2 big-time throws as well as 2 turnover-worthy plays, and rightfully so. But I thought he did a really nice job and gave this team a chance to win. And at the end of the day, I mean, he put the ball where it needs to be. Only the receiver could come down with it. If Jawan Johnson does come down with it, their big free agency payday, if he comes down with it, maybe we're talking differently. But, the Cardinals went into the Big Easy and won. That was not an easy game. Jordan Birch really surprised me. I thought he looked really good. I thought Trey Benson, finally, he looks like the guy that I saw in college. I thought the offensive line was stellar of Arizona. Only allowing 3 pressures in this game, was really impressed with what I saw from them. With that said, I think Kyler has to be better at not taking sacks. I think a lot of the sacks that he has now, there's no excuse. If that offensive line stays the way it is and they block the way they did, There's no excuse for Kyler at that point. I thought he played a really good game. He just needs to clean it up as far as the sacks. And then Will Johnson, hats off to you, Mike. You said it. Will Johnson is going to be legit. You weren't worried about the injuries in the offseason. I wanted nothing to do with Will Johnson because of the injuries. He looked absolutely stellar in coverage. So did Dadrian Taylor Demerson. Really liked what I saw from him. I thought Josh Sweat was a breath of fresh air, over a 21% win rate. That is what we're talking about as a true closer. Although, can you imagine what this team would be if they went out and got Micah Parsons? That's neither here nor there. But hats off to Arizona. Look, people are going to crap all over this team because they beat a Saints team. It's a no-win situation, Mike. You know that. When you play a bad team, the reality is it doesn't matter what you do. If you blow them out, they're a bad team. If you barely beat them, they're a bad team. I think at the end of the day, the Saints are a better team than given credit for. I think Spencer Rattler had you guys on the ropes, and he dropped the catch, but really good coverage, and the Cardinals come away with a week 1 win, and it's like Jesse said, week 1 can get squirrely. I mean, we saw this same New Orleans team last year. I said it multiple times in our last episode, 40-plus points in 3 straight games. So obviously we know how that season ended for them, but good win by Arizona.
God, does that not feel like a lifetime ago? I completely forgot about that. That
does.
was a point in time everybody was like, Derek Carr, Saints, is that a thing this year? And
now he's retired.
Yeah, no kidding.
I just want to say one thing real quick. Thank you, Jake. Yeah. All very, very nice things. Thank you. Appreciate you.
I got you.
Well, the one thing you did point out, though, Jake, that I have to highlight because it's a great point, it was the sacks allowed by Arizona. 5 sacks given up by Kyler Murray and company in this game despite the victory. Brandon, interesting win here for Arizona because they only have 276 total yards of offense, and they're actually outgained by Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints in this game. They get the victory, though, 20-13. Your big takeaway from Arizona on the road at New Orleans.
Well, like I think Jake said, that's a good point. That you're not going to get any moral victories from anybody if you beat what's going to be looked at as a bad team. And the Saints do have a solid roster, except for their quarterback. I do think they're going to end up as sort of a top 5 team. It's now probably more of the Dolphins are in that line for probably the number 1 overall pick as it looks right now. But that being said, this is week 1. Teams are at relatively their full health and they're ready to go. And that means you're getting this full strength of a roster with Rattler, and they had to kind of get through that. So it still does make it a challenge, I think. And it was impressive that they had to grind to get this through. 10 a.m. game. I think the thing I'll take away from this is it's a good win by the Cardinals. I don't know if I've learned the answers to the questions we talked about walking into this season. That the pass rush win rate, which I think sometimes this thing with that starts to get almost talked about too much more when you look back the fact that the Saints had 46 dropbacks. The Cardinals had 2 quarterback hits and 1 sack. So the pass rush win rate looks good. It's not necessarily bad, but that's a big driving force of this team. I don't know if I learned that they can rise up to be kind of a dominant element of that team to help carry the day like the Cardinals are hoping. I got to say it's great to see Trey Benson really bust out because like Jake, that's a guy that I really loved coming out. I saw shades of kind of a Todd Gurley to his game coming out. And while he had the big 50-yard run, he also ran around that well in addition to that. So at least I think that's very impressive because you can see in Connor, he might be getting to that age where you need Benson to come in there and kind of take over more of the bell cow carries when it's all said and done. As well on the good side, Kyler Murray actually using his legs in this game a little bit more than we've seen in certain games where he doesn't have to go 10, 15 rushes, but 7, 8, 9 rushes a game can have a big impact offensively. So on that part, it was good. And he played relatively mistake-free ball on that side. But again, another one of the questions I had coming into this year was the receivers. And what do you have aside from Harrison? I know McBride's good. I know Harrison's good. I know you can ride with those 2. I don't know if you can ride with a full season of those 2 having to carry the day for you. And if you look at the rest of the receiving core for the Cardinals in this game, I think you had 4 catches and I think literally 10 yards. Yeah. So it was all on those guys making this happen. And so it's not to say I don't want to make this seem like I'm shredding your cards. I'm not. This is certainly a team with the potential to continue to rise forward. I'm just saying some of those questions I had about the team haven't quite been answered. I loved Will Johnson. I had him as a blue chip graded guy. So him playing really great, if he's healthy, is not a surprise. That's going to be huge for you. Melton played a great game. Yeah. But that's just my little, wonder still coming out of this one.
Like that.
Jesse, do you have something?
Nope.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were getting ready to rock that. I wanted to give you your space. Well, I'm swinging it to you anyways, Jesse. And Brandon and Jake both touched on this. You can't win here. You beat the Saints. Who cares? You lose. Oh, my God, you lost to the Saints. And, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, depending on how you look at it, for Mike, this upcoming week, they're playing the Panthers, who might have been the worst team this entire weekend alongside Miami. So there's going to be 2 weeks here where we might not know exactly what Arizona is, but you're watching this game. They got it done, 20-13. They don't turn it over offensively. Brandon just touched on it. It wasn't a crazy day offensively, but you have your 2 mainstays in Harrison, and of course, you have a great day coming off the back of Trey McBride, excuse me. So you have a good day from those 2 guys, and that was enough for Kyler Murray to get them over the edge. Your takeaway here from Arizona and New Orleans.
Well, yeah, and you said it. They're going to be playing the Panthers this week, but the Panthers beat them last year, so I'm sure that they're going to be taking that game very, very seriously. But same thing here. I mean, it is a no-win situation. I still would have liked to have seen a couple things out of the Cardinals. One, I certainly would have loved to seen the margin of victory be a little bit higher. Also, 47 dropbacks and only 1 sack. For a revamped defensive line, they got a lot of pressures, but you got to get home too, especially with that many dropbacks. So that was a little bit surprising to me, because they really did put a lot of assets over there. And I still think that they're going to gel and grow and be better. But that was just an observation that I had. Trey Benson, obviously, you guys touched on it as well. 8 carries, 69 yards, did break the big one. But between him, James Conner, and then Kyler Murray with the 7 runs, they can be an effective run team, certainly. And Kyler Murray, yes, he took sacks, but he also played a very efficient game. It wasn't perfect by any means. Kyler's just so interesting. I feel like we can say this every single week. It's like all the physical attributes are there, but sometimes there's something missing. But Marvin Harrison didn't have, he had an up and down rookie year, never got to the 1,000 yards. I think a lot of people were disappointed. We were wondering what his new look physique, how that would translate. He's a good player. He's a very, very good player. So overall, I mean, it doesn't matter. Week 1 on the road, New Orleans is not the easiest place to play by any means. Spencer Rattler may not be anything good, but the rest of the roster is pretty decent. You get out of there with a win. You definitely don't turn your nose up at that. And we'll find out eventually what the Cardinals are. We got to play them here in a couple weeks. And I know that's not going to be an easy game. So yeah, the Cardinals did what they were supposed to do. They got out of there with a win, but I think to Brandon's point, they really got to figure out who wide receiver number 2 is. And if I were them, if the Raiders are going to be trading Myers potentially, I would be a team I would reach out to. I'd be interested in. I'd be looking at a Tyreek Hill. I'd be working the phones if I could to be trying to get another receiver opposite of Marvin Harrison. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough for this offense all season long.
Mike, obviously a win's a win. You'd rather have it than not, but are you satisfied with what you saw from your Cardinals in this game? New Orleans is talked about all offseason long as the bottom barrel team in the league. You do get it done over them. There's no question about it. You hold them to 13 points. It was a fine effort, but I'm interested from your perspective, from the Cardinal perspective and the fan base in general. What's the satisfaction level in what you witnessed on Sunday in that win over New Orleans?
I think there's a little bit of a mix of emotions when it comes down to the fan base. I mean, there were some people that were not happy with the win because they were expecting a blowout. And then you got the other portion of the fan base that's saying, win's a win, which at the end of the day, you don't care how it wins, right? Especially when you're talking about 3 or 4 weeks into the season, it's a W in the column regardless. That the best thing you need to do is learn from those mistakes that you ended up happening in that specific game. And to everybody's point, you guys all hit the nail on the head on there. Like, the New Orleans is not an easy place to be in. Like, that crowd was juiced up, and it doesn't matter if they're a bottom barrel team or people projected them to be a bottom barrel team. That team came to freaking play and had one of the best game plans against this Arizona Cardinal defense. Now, let me take a real quick step back. Spencer Rattler is literally the only unknown when you look at that roster. And when I really dissected it, they got some real good players out there. Raheem Shaheed, Chris Olave, if he can stay healthy, is a pretty good, wide receiver. And then Brandon Cooks, veteran, but he could still do it. So they got a really good wide receiving tandem. And of course, Alvin Kamara, which had to get his anytime touchdown on there. So, I mean, overall, this team is pretty solid, and that defense really came in, and their main purpose was to obviously rattle Kyler Murray, and they got back there with 5 sacks. Unfortunately, the revamp of the Arizona Cardinals defense only amounted to 1 sack. But if you look at the film, which I was able to break down on the All-22, the Cardinals were literally split seconds away from getting Rattler. Like, split seconds, and that's Jordan Birch as well as Josh Sweat. Like, we were so close. Now, kudos to Spencer Rattler. He executed his game plan down to perfection. I never seen a guy more poised in my life in terms of a second-year quarterback. And especially because nobody thought that he was going to be anything. And I think that's why they're a bottom barrel team, because the unknown with Spencer Rattler. But if he plays like this, I don't think they're going to be the first overall pick. I'm going to be real. I mean, they'd probably be somewhere in the top 10s, but they could win some games with that game plan that they had, just zipping the ball, quick, fast decision-making, just boom, right there. So that was the biggest deciding factor. The Cardinals defense was close to getting Spencer Rattler in multiple different occasions. He used his legs, bounced out of the pocket or stepped up. He did a really, really good game. So I want to give him some credit. The Arizona Cardinals came in here. Now that I'm sitting on Tuesday, I'll take the win as it comes. I think the number one thing that I really want to take away is you got to learn from all these things. And everybody on this panel has been saying it since all offseason. The wide receiving core is a big mystery. You cannot have your number 2 wide receiver having 1 reception, 4 or 5 yards, and your number 3 wide receiver having kind of something similar. That's just not okay. I don't know any fan base that's going to be accepting that other than the Cardinals fan base, because we're such a run-heavy offense. But you got to get those guys involved. You have to find a way to get them at least 20, 30 yards a game to make sure that it's being spread around and it's not all Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, with that being said, some positives, right? We saw some rookies that we're not used to talking about after week 1 potentially being real stars in the NFL. Will Johnson being one of them. I think he was graded, 90.3 in coverage grade in PFF, and he was right below Sauce Gardner. He was up there. And then Jordan Birch, 3rd round pick. Ain't nobody talked about Jordan Birch. I mean, I didn't even talk about him when we drafted him in the 3rd round, but when I saw him in preseason and then it, equated to what happened in week 1, I'm so excited to eventually see a running or an edge rush tandem with Josh Sweat as well as Jordan Birch back there. Because right now it's a split share. We got a lot of Dante Stills, we got a lot of David Collins, and then Baron Browning as well. But you give Jordan Birch an opportunity. This can be a real opportunity for him to potentially break out. So I'm excited about those 2 players. At the end of the day, the Cardinals won. That's what I'm going to be taking away. And we're looking towards the Panthers as of right now, but want to know it feels sweet to be where we're at. This is the first time we won week 1 since 2021, so we'll take it.
Wow. So big W, regardless of who it comes from, especially if you're waiting that long. Cardinals improved to 1-0, as do the LA Rams. 14-9 victory over the Houston Texans. We've talked about this Rams defense this offseason. You saw it on full display on Sunday. The Texans were up 9-7 at half, lay a goose egg in the second half. The Rams defense forces 2 turnovers in this game, including late to seal the game. That was the difference maker at the end of the football game. They also get 3 sacks in the game as well. Brandon, I'll start here with you. Efficient day from Matt Stafford. Great defensive outing for the Rams, and they hold a Texans offense that you're expecting to be able to put some points on the board to less than 10 in this one, and they really had to because they only put 14 up themselves. Talk about the win that LA got against Houston in week 1.
Yeah, I think this is where you're dealing with the Rams defense coming in from Houston's standpoint, and about some of the weakness that you have on your offensive line, and you're worried about it. And I think that this then causes you to have an effect where you're changing your game plan of how you'd normally call it against other teams because of how you're playing the Rams. I don't know if the intention would be to go 50-50 on the run pass split, especially on a day where you only put up 9 points on the board from the Texans standpoint. I think that's protectivism. I think you're trying to know that, hey, we don't want to get CJ killed in week 1 on the road in LA. And that just speaks to how good the Rams defense is, that it can force a little bit of that game plan change up ahead of the game actually occurring before they've even got the pressure there. But 27 passing attempts from CJ Stroud in this game. And you could see it was a very controlled passing attack meant to get the ball out of his hands. And the Rams just kind of do what they do, which is that we like to think of them with Stafford there and having the receivers they do as this sort of explosive team that's going to throw the ball over the place on you. But they're actually kind of a gritty team that plays defense and just drags you into the deep waters and eventually sort of taps you out. That's kind of the team that they are. That's the team that they kind of wore last year. And that's the game that they played in this particular game, where they just sort of eventually kind of wear you out a bit. And Stafford makes some big time throws. I think what stands out to this game and playing this style of game that they played so often last year is that Stafford last year in those type of games would give you a throw or two to the defense, where he would give the defense an opportunity to flip the script, to change how the game was going, to prevent that dragging of deep waters. But Stafford in this game, to me, didn't have those turnover-worthy kind of throws that you saw as much from, and he just played a really clean game within that and allowed them to just execute how they execute. They don't need to run for 5 yards a carry with Kyren Williams. They can go out there with I've called him the 3.7 man, because it's like every time I look at the box score with them, it's like, 3.7 yards per carry, but he's going to get you like 3.7 yards every time. It's not that he gets you 25 and then 2, 20. It's that you're getting the 3-7 every time. They're going to get into third downs and shorts, enough conversions, enough points. They're going to win the game. This is what they do. They've got a mode, a style.
Nothing came easy for CJ Stroud in this game, Jesse. Yes, 19 to 27, but sub 190 yards and interception. And if you look at the receiving numbers, not a single receiver in this game over 32 yards in the air. So they really controlled the day, like Brandon was alluding to, the Rams defense, that is. So talk to me about what you saw in that regard and in totality in the Rams win over Houston on Sunday.
Yeah, real quick from the Houston side of things and CJ Stroud side of things, multiple drops in that game for sure. The interception was a perfectly thrown pass from CJ Stroud, gave it to his receiver who had position, receiver caught it, and then I think it was Kobe Bryant that came in and just literally ripped it from his hands, somehow stayed in bounds. It was a hell of a play from him. So, I mean, what was it? Durant? What's his name?
Yeah, Kobe Durant.
Mm-hmm. Kobe Durant. Yeah, I said Kobe Bryant. Kobe Durant came in and literally it was like midair, put his arm under the ball and just ripped it from him and then stayed in bounds. It was a phenomenal play by him. So, you have that. And then he's driving at the end of the game to win it. And the third string running back catches the ball out of the backfield and then proceeds to fumble. Game over. So, definitely tough sledding for CJ Stroud for sure, but a lot of credit to the Rams defense. And this is one of those teams, man. This defense is absolutely nasty versus getting triple teamed at this point. It's absolutely insane. And the secondary might be as good as Jake advertised. I know it's only one game, but anytime Nico Collins gets 3 catches for 25 yards, that means somebody had to do a good job on him. So, there is that. They have 2 young stud wide receivers as well. So it was a very impressive performance. I will say Nick Chubb getting 60 yards. Is he a decent player again? Finally healthy, or is that is the Rams run defense leaky? I know Brandon talked about that. And then the last thing that I'll talk about, a couple things real quick. Puka Nacua, my gosh, left the game, was bloodied up, comes back in the game, appeared to get concussed. I called it right away. I was like, oh God, another shot to the head, like he's gonna be out of this game. Nope, he comes back, absolutely goes insane. 10 catches for 130 yards, was all over the place. And anybody who thinks that Matthew Stafford is washed and that back is an issue needs to go watch that game. Matthew Stafford was absolutely dealing against a prime, great Texans defense. No look passes, the back shoulder on the sideline to Devontae Adams. I mean, dropping the ball in cover 2 honeypots, like absolutely insane. It was prime Matthew Stafford. He looked absolutely phenomenal. The Rams are good. Very, very good team. The Texans are not slouches by any means. And listen, this is the reason I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be tough to beat. And if this secondary is anything close to what Jake thinks it is, good luck, man. Good freaking luck.
A good team they are for sure. And you talked about Matt Stafford. Mike, he goes 21 to 29, 245 and a touchdown. Puka Nacua's leaking blood from his head. It doesn't matter. He's got 10 for 130. You'd think they'd score more based on the numbers that Stafford and Puka put up, but only 14 points. It was enough to get it done on the back of this defense. Talk to me about what you saw in the Rams-Texans game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think everybody else on this panel said it best. But this just came down to a defensive battle that I always kind of felt like it was going to be, and the better quarterback made the plays that you needed to make at the end of the day. Now, CJ Stroud, to his own right, I know he had a really good rookie year. I'm not going to say like the decline is starting to happen for CJ Stroud, but like the kind of the rumbles are out there. Now, obviously some things that are completely out of his control, but I expected a little bit more from CJ Stroud, honestly. And they were close to, or I wouldn't say close, but they were going to try to win. And then that fumble ended up happening there. So this was a good game. It really was. The Rams, to me, look as gritty as I did not want them to be. And the great picture is that Puka Nacua, that screenshot of him just bleeding, right? And it's like, that's just what this team is. And you put the best quarterback in the NFC West, and they're going to win games, man. They really are. So, I mean, kudos to the Rams for pulling it out. It wasn't an easy game at all, like from any stretch of the imagination, but they ended up pulling it off. So good for them. 1-0. There's 3 1-0 teams in this division, so I'm excited.
Jake, when you score 14 points against a playoff team, I think most people would think that you probably lost the game, but not in this one. It's all the credit in the world of the Rams defense, and Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka, Kyron Williams, they do enough to get it done in this one. Talk to me about what you loved. And then, of course, in a game where you score 14, I'm thinking you probably think there's a lot to improve on here on that side of things as well. Or maybe not. Maybe you liked what you saw and 14 was enough to do it. Either way, talk to me about what you saw in this game and what stood out the most.
Yeah, I think I appreciate everyone's thoughts on the game because you can tell they actually did their homework and watched it. There are, some people in the comment section saying 14 points, acting like that's a bad thing. Well, I'll just add this real quick. The Texans have one of the best defenses in the National Football League, okay? Simply put. But that 14 points is a little misleading. They had a red zone drive. They were literally like near the goal line when Colby Parkinson fumbles on a bang-bang play that could have gone either way. They also had a 74-yard return that was called back on some ticky-tack call. Troy Reeder holding. He's also getting his face mask grabbed. They missed it. Of course, it was the Craig Rolstad special on Sunday. Love that guy if you know me. But Whittington had that called back, and then another explosive that put him down in the red zone had that called back. So There were a few plays where, you take those away. I mean, this could have been a 21-9, 24-9 type of game. And that's really what it felt like. It felt like the Rams were really in control. Even when they were losing, it felt like they were really in control. That defense was getting to CJ Stroud. And I'm just going to be honest here because I'm a believer in context. I'm not just going to sit here and tell you guys, yeah, they were dominating this Texans offensive line. This Texans offensive line isn't good. But when you start to lose Jake Andrews at center, and then you lose Cam Robinson, who wasn't good to begin with, and now you're down to Blake Fisher, and now you're down to Jarrett Patterson, I don't care what you think about those guys. Anytime you have to shuffle around an offensive line, it is a problem. That said, I thought CJ Stroud played as good of a game as you could ask from him with this defense. This defense was giving him fits, and he was still finding a way to keep him in the game. I thought the secondary was outstanding. I mean, you guys know my thoughts on Akello shutting down Nico Collins, seeing him more than half of his snaps lined up across from Nico. He did a stellar job. He deserves more credit. Finally starting to get it because Richard Sherman quote tweeted my tweet and gave him some love. Love to see that. Matthew Stafford, 5 big-time throws this week. Number 1 quarterback according to PFF, and rightfully so. He was outstanding. Jesse absolutely hit the nail on the head there. The Texans sold out to stop the run. So Kyron Williams, 3.7 yards per carry, like Brandon mentioned, sounds about right. Unfortunately for Kyron, 2023, a lot better in the yards per carry. 2024, offensive linemen every which way getting hurt. They're using all sorts of guys in this one because Kevin Dotson and Steve Avila went down. So, we talk about the Texans. It also happened on the Rams side. It's hard to get the run going, especially with how much they stacked the box. Kyron's not used to seeing that. The Rams aren't used to seeing that, but they took advantage because Puka Nacua looks like the most dangerous receiver in the National Football League, especially now that you have a true X receiver on the outside with Devontae Adams, where he can take all those slot reps. He had the most slot reps of his career in this one. So it says a lot about how they want to utilize him. I'm excited for that. I thought the offensive line had their moments despite the injuries. And again, going back to the defense, Jared Verse looks ready for a Defensive Player of the Year campaign. Thought he looked outstanding. Byron Young looks really good. Poona Ford, I know Jesse was really not excited because, he covers the 49ers here, but he really liked Poona Ford and the fit with the LA Rams. I'll tell you right now, Poona Ford is as advertised. The dominance against the run, the 2 pressures he added. Nate Landman, I mentioned to you guys, I was hearing things that this guy could be really special for them. And sure enough, he comes out, 10 tackles, outstanding in coverage. And then, of course, the game-winning punch out there, one punch man Landman, that nobody in the announcer booth could say his name correctly. But again, it comes down to the secondary. I thought they did a great job. I think that was really what everybody was watching, and I feel good because I went to bat for this secondary, not because oh yeah, they play for the Rams. Okay, I've been very critical of the Rams secondary in the past. Go back to week 1 last year. Did not like that they chose Trey White. But that said, this secondary really stood out all across the board. Emmanuel Forbes, they tried to say that you're washed. They tried to say that you're a bust. They tried to say that because the Commanders didn't want you, nobody should want you. Well, he worked his tail off, and now here he is starting for the Rams, and he's showing the ability and the tackling level of his game, which he didn't have before, and looked really good. Kobe Durant, really, really stellar interception there. He's been kind of that playmaker. Akello was great. And then you have Cam Curl, you have Quentin Lake, you have Cam Kinchins, and they use Tank McCullough as a Swiss Army knife. Chris Shula was in his bag, and that is a really good sign. And it is a sign that he's no longer a rookie defensive coordinator, and he's not afraid to throw a little nuance into his defense. We saw that. CJ Stroud saw that, and the Rams end up with the win. And it's one of those things where you don't care how it's done. When you play a really good team like the Texans, who finished the same spot you did, losing in the divisional round, you'll take this win all day.
Rams get the win. Niners get the win. Cardinals get the win. Those 3 teams looking to improve to 2-0 next week. Brandon looking to get his first win of the season next week. We'll take a peek at week 2. Right around the corner. Before we do, let's take a look over at Sleeper. Let's build a pick slip. The Niners game is not up there right now. I have to imagine it's because of the injuries. They're trying to work out who's going to be available in that game. So that's not up there for now. Jesse, I'll let you make a pick on maybe a different I'm on the wrong thing, by the way. I keep doing this. There we go. I'll let you make a pick on a different game once we get there, but I'll start with Seattle and Pittsburgh. Brandon, anything come to mind that you think we should add to the slip more or less than when it comes to your Seahawks?
Boy, I would probably go with I want to say Charbonnet over the 49 yards, because you didn't run the ball well enough. You're going to definitely be trying to run this next week. And I think the Jets were able to run the ball pretty well against that Pittsburgh team this last week. So I would probably go with that one, I suppose. One more little scroll down, just a little scroll. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that one there. What's the DK at on that? DK is looking to eat.
Let's take a peek.
64.
Yep, 64 and a half.
64. I might go DK because he's going to be in Aaron Rodgers' ear. Like, we got to show them what's up.
Oh, yeah. That's a no-brainer.
You like it more than Charbonnet?
Yeah, I do, because DK is exactly that type of dude that'd be there. And Aaron Rodgers is exactly the kind of guy who'd go right back and to be like, yeah.
He knows about return games.
Right? Yeah. He totally want to be petty like that. So like
even though I have nothing against Seattle and I have no reason to have anything, stick it to him.
Oh, yeah. Rodgers hates Seattle though too, because he thinks that we cost him with the champion.
Oh, okay.
He's openly said he hates us because of those two.
Oh, yeah. Good luck. Then, yeah. DK, I just heard DK Metcalf 210 yards, 17 receptions.
The fan base would absolutely lose their stuff if that happens.
Oh my God.
Rodgers didn't hold back on hating the Jets after their W, so I could imagine he wants DK to be able to do the same after the Seahawks game. We'll go more on 64 and a half DK Metcalf receiving yards. Let's go over to Rams Titans. Jake, anything in particular you think we should look at on our sleeper picks?
I don't know if Whittington is there. I really like Jordan Whittington in this game. They tried to get him going. I mean, they had 3 explosives with him all called back. But if he's not there, I think you'll be able to run against the Titans. They were able to get some yards last week with, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, not J.K. Dobbins. That
Harvey?
Harvey had that big run. I think, what's Kyron at?
Kyron's at 74 and a half.
Oh, it went up? Okay.
You know what that means.
People started laying the bets. Yeah.
Right.
That still might make it a good bet, though.
They're
pushing it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that play.
All right. Yeah. More than 74 and a half for Kyron. And they really, they tried to get him going this past week. Like you mentioned, the Texans sell out to stop him. Maybe he has more success against the Titans this upcoming week. So 74 and a half more for Kyron Williams is what we're going with. Carolina, Arizona. Mike, anything on the Cardinals end of things we should add to our slip?
What's Kyler in rushing yards? Because last
22 and a half.
More.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at, Mike.
Make it easy.
And then, Jesse, I'll leave the whole board to you. Is there a game you look at or a player this upcoming week that you think we should dial in at?
Let's go to Thursday Night Football.
Let's do it. I can't wait. That's going to be a hell of a game. Commanders, Packers.
Let's take the easy one. Get Micah Parsons more than the sack.
Nice. There it is.
Ooh,
more than a half sack for Micah Parsons. Here's our slip. DK Metcalf, more than 64.5 receiving yards. Kyron Williams, more than 74.5 rush yards. Kyler Murray, more than 22.5 rush yards. And Micah Parsons on Thursday Night Football to record a sack. The multiplier on that is over 9 times your wager. That's what you can get over on Sleeper. You can also make your own picks, of course, and make that multiplier even higher. Sleeper is the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 6 million users in 2023, and their fantasy platform and their picks platform. It's no secret as to why. Get in on it using the promo code on your screen. Use the promo code RTS and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper in the link in the description today. All right. We waited far too long for week 1. Now it has come and gone. Let's transition to week 2, where we have a full slate of NFC West games, including 3 in the 1 p.m. window. The lone late afternoon game is Mike's Arizona Cardinals against the Panthers. We'll get to that one last. Let's start with what I think might be unarguable here, the most intriguing matchup of the 4 on the board this upcoming Sunday. That's the Seattle Seahawks on the road against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. And we just mentioned a DK Metcalf reunion game. Could be a revenge game, or at least Aaron Rodgers is going to try and make it one with DK Metcalf. The Steelers coming off of a very odd win where the Jets somehow, pigs are flying, score 32 points, lose the football game. Aaron Rodgers looks as good as ever, 4 touchdowns. They score 34. They get the W over Rodgers' former team. Seattle, of course, going into this one, trying to get their first W. Jesse, I'll start with you here. What do you look at in this game, and ultimately, who do you think ends up winning it? Do the Steelers go to 2-0, or do the Seattle Seahawks finally get, or not finally, it's only week 2, but do they get their first win of the season in week 2?
Well, they might be saying finally if they go 0-2 to start the season. I'll say that. These two teams, it's interesting because we don't exactly know what either one of them are. At week 1, you never really do, but the Steelers had so many question marks coming into the season, and seemingly were able to answer a lot of them after week 1. And then the Seahawks, a lot of the things that I thought that they would do very well, they did, but that offense clearly struggled with a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterback, a new receiving core, a rebuilt offensive line. So there's a lot to work on. But then you got to play the Steelers, who they disappointed a bit defensively, but they still have a lot of players on that defense. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm actually going to pick the Steelers to win this one 24-20. I just think they get it done. Aaron Rodgers, even at this stage, is still a guy that can play some good football. Clearly, can he do it 2 weeks in a row? I don't know, but I just think that they get it done. So I'm going 24-20 Steelers.
Jesse has the Hawks falling to 0-2, Pittsburgh improving to 2-0. Jake, similar mindset here, or is Seattle getting it done on the road?
Oh man, I'm feeling kind of the same thing. It's tough. I'm pretty high on Seattle. I had them losing this game. I had them beating the 49ers, so I'm not going to go back on that now. But I was really impressed with what I saw from Aaron Rodgers, and not just Aaron Rodgers, but you look at some of the guys that they have spent time developing. And to me, Calvin Austin is the perfect example of that. This is somebody that they're very excited about. He had a great game. You just add Jabril Peppers to this team. I like the pass rush. I think they're going to have some problems. Seattle is on the road. I'm gonna take the Steelers in this one.
2 consecutive picks for the Steelers. Mike, are you making it 3? Darnold versus Rodgers. You thinking 0-2 as well for Seattle?
Yeah, I think we're going to do the trifecta. We're going to do a trifecta. I mean, this is also in Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh as well. So, I like to lean over to the home team, right, in terms of the crowd. I mean, that Steelers organization, that fan base is going to come with the juice, man. And there's just so many storylines that are following this, right? Does Aaron Rodgers still have it? Is DK Metcalf going to, shine when he goes against his former team? I think, all those are going to stay true. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I was actually really disappointed with the Steelers defense to allow the freaking Jets to do that. And I had the Steelers on my fantasy team, so I hate Steelers defense for allowing that to happen. But I do think that team offensively has found their, I don't know, a niche or their rhythm to continue that. I'm not going to say 4 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers every single week, but I do believe he found his, perfect system. And I think they're going to go ahead and win here. I'm going to say 28-13 Steelers take the win.
Wow, another 13 spot for Brandon Seahawks. Brandon, you were not pleased with what you saw this past weekend in the loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Are you expecting improvement this week? Are you expecting a W this week? Or do you think your Hawks also fall to 0-2 like the rest of the fellas do?
No, unfortunately, I believe the Seattle Seahawks will fall to 0-2. I think that there is too much of a work in progress going on the offensive side of the ball right now. There's a lot of similar problems that still popped up this past week that reared their ugly head, and I think are going to continue to rear their ugly head, especially when you're playing on the road in Pittsburgh. I'm old enough to have multiple decades of my life knowing that the few times that you have tended to go into Pittsburgh, I think you've got like one time in my life an actual dub going in there, and sometimes that's with much better teams than the one that you fielded out on week 1. This team's in prove-it mode right now, Zbot. They've got to go out there and show, no, we're not going to be committed to the run game in theory or what they're telling us, but actually showing us the under center, the way this offense is supposed to look. And defensively speaking, you gave up the 400 yards last week. This Pittsburgh offense, as dynamic as it is, DK was something to prove. Rodgers hating Seattle as he does. I think this just adds up to it probably being a loss, and a pretty big loss at that, with a 27-17 kind of flavor to it.
Wow, a clean sweep in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what that means. Congrats, Brandon, and the 12s. You got a W coming your way. If everyone in here is that confident in Pittsburgh, we should probably look out and see if if we wind up jinxing it here. But everyone seems to be a bit confident in what they saw in Rodgers and maybe a little unconfident in what they saw in Seattle this past weekend, combining into 4 picks for Pittsburgh. Let's stay in the 1 p.m. window. Niners on the road against the Saints. The Saints coming off a loss to Mike's Cardinals. The Niners coming off a W over Brandon's Seahawks. This is probably the best matchup you could have with the Niners being banged up like they are. If you're going to play a team, you probably are going to want it to be one that you're not anticipating to be a game you're expecting to lose. And I don't think the Niners, despite the injuries, are expecting a loss here. But I'll ask you guys, Brandon, I'll start right back where I ended. I'll give this one to you. Niners, Saints, you're coming off that loss to the Niners. Do you think they're going to beat the Saints coming up here in week 2?
I do think the Niners are going to beat this Saints team, but I think that I'm also a little bit worried right now when I look at this Niners team about where their health stands, because there's just sometimes you can get too far with too many injuries, or too many injuries at too important positions. And when you do look at the receiver core already where it stands, and your quarterback now with the injuries popping up like he does, this is still a Saints team that's got enough early in the year, even with Rattler at quarterback, that can challenge you, especially on the road. So some of this is a wonder in my mind about where the health is really out of this Niners squad coming into this game, because if it's decimated, you're going to give this Saints team a chance. I think that ball that I saw my Seahawks drop this past week, with that opportunity that a weakened Niner team gave you because of where they are just kind of structurally right now, the Saints team is will be even more likely to be able to take advantage of that. I think any other NFL team on average in their own house would tend to be able to take advantage of that. With that said, I think the Niners have just enough to get the job done on this one. So we'll go 21-17.
Mike, your Cardinals just got it done against these Saints. Do you think Jesse's Niners have a similar victory to your Cardinals in this one against New Orleans this week?
I mean, I would just love to know who's going to play and who's not, because that's really what's going to be my deciding factor as to who's going to win this game or not. Like what I saw versus the Saints this last week, I'm not going to say they're playoff team or anything like that, but they're a better team, like physicality, defensively, offensive. They're a really good team. Like obviously the whole Spencer Rattler thing, he's got to play efficient just like he did. But I don't know. I somehow feel like Purdy's going to play. Obviously Kittle's not going to be playing, but it's also Juwan Jennings going to play. We don't know. But as long as they got Christian McCaffrey, I think there's always a chance. So I'm going to go 49ers here. I'm not going to think I'll say 21-13 49ers.
2 for 2 on Niners. Jake, you making it a hat trick here? You got the Niners beating the Saints?
Yeah, I got to go with the 49ers in this one. I was really close to going with the Saints. I loved what they did against the Cardinals. They had a chance to send that thing to overtime. Thought Spencer Rattler played his life out. But at the same time, I can totally see the Saints winning. I can.
Yeah.
But what loses me is the idea of Spencer Rattler going against Robert Saleh. That is exactly why I got to stick with the Niners here. My gut is actually kind of telling me the Saints, but I can't go against what I know. I think Robert Saleh is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and he's back with the Niners, and you saw that kind of ferocity with a lot of the younger guys, like Jesse mentioned. And I just think the things that Rattler got away with, and he got away with some things in that game, went turnover free. I think the 49ers will make him pay. So this might be one of those games where even the Saints get off to a good start. I wouldn't be surprised if this is exactly the same type of game we just saw with the Bears and the Vikings. I think early on, Saints could get, hot and, could score and feeling good. And I think the 49ers, make the adjustments in the second half, shut down Rattler, maybe force a pick six, a turnover, what have you. But I have the 49ers in this one. I'm going to say 24-16.
It's been a hive mind through the first two games here. Jesse, are you going to make it a clean sweep once again? Are your Niners getting the W in New Orleans?
Yeah, of course I'm going to make it a clean sweep. Yes, they're going to get the W. 23-17 is the score prediction. I just look at it and say that I don't think that the Saints are going to be able to run the ball effectively. And if Spencer Rattler has to air it out anything close to what he did last week, even if he has 35 attempts, he's definitely getting sacked more than once, and he's definitely turning the ball over. So this Robert Saleh's defense is no joke. They clearly have figured out how to corral the run, which was a major problem last year. And I believe that they'll be able to do it again this week and make them a very one-dimensional team. Brock Purdy, I believe, will play. I believe Jennings will play. Kittle's obviously not. They've added Kendrick Bourne to the roster as well. They've got enough to get it done. This will be a win for the 49ers. I'll go 23-17.
A clean sweep through two games, and something tells me we might have a clean sweep through three. Let's go to Rams at the Tennessee Titans against rookie Cam Ward, who that team gave the Denver Broncos a run for their money this past weekend, and we're close to getting the W in the debut for Cam Ward. But the Rams, different breed, coming to town off of their W over the Houston Texans. Brandon, I'll start with you here on the road in Tennessee. What do you see going down between LA and Tennessee?
Yeah, Ward's arm talent was pretty impressive last week on a few of those throws, but he's got some receivers there that are going to sell on him big time, where he needs some. That's one of the first things of items that you need the Titans to pair with him with that arm talent he has. It's just too early with them. Their defense isn't particularly great. They've got some potential inside and being able to limit Kyron in the respect of having Simmons and then Devondre Sweat in there, and you've got a lot of beef in there to deal with the Rams beef on their offensive line. The Rams offensive line is going to be ailing a little bit here. But at the end of the day, I think Stafford really locks it into place against that Titans secondary. I think they find some rushing holes out there, and I think they're able to win this one comfortably. I'm going to go 30-13 Rams.
A different tone than last week. Rams win with 14. Brandon's got them winning with 30 this upcoming week over Tennessee. Mike, how do you see in this one going down between the Rams and the Titans?
So I was kind of on the fantasy football was not my friend. I don't understand how Tennessee Titans did that to Bo Nix. He was also my quarterback in fantasy football, so it was a mess. But going to this specific game, you said it best, Bob. This team is a different breed. This is not the Denver Broncos. It's Matthew Stafford's the better quarterback than Bo Nix. I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, the Tennessee Titans are going to come out here and shock the world. No, I mean, to their respected right, they made Bo Nix into a sophomore slump in week one. So good for them, right? But I just don't trust anything they have on the outside. I don't trust Cam Ward to be that guy right now in this point of his career, although show some flashes here and there. They're not there. They're not in the same level as the Rams are. The Rams are a deep playoff team, and I'm just going to make this short and simple. I got the Rams winning this game 31-13.
Blowouts across the board thus far. Jesse, Rams, Titans. What do you think goes down in Tennessee?
Yeah, I think the Titans defense is pretty decent. They're just poorly coached offensively. It's absolutely atrocious. I can't see them getting more than 13 points, and that might be generous. I'll give them the 13. But I think the Rams also, You know, it's interesting because the Rams certainly have the ability to be an explosive offense, but I feel like somehow during the regular season they tend to underperform offensively, and then they just figure it out when they need it most. So I kind of see that with them again. I don't see them getting more than 23. It's a road game. You know, Titans are like I said, formidable on defense. I'll go 23-13 Rams.
Man, oh man, Jake, another clean sweep, and it lies in your hands, and I got a feeling you're locking it in. Your Rams against the Titans in the Music City. Are they getting it done in Tennessee?
They are absolutely getting it done in Tennessee. Jesse stole my prediction. I have 23-13. I think, what Jesse said is actually what I've been saying for a while, and people do not like because they won the Super Bowl, and it just comes off as disrespectful. It's not to say that I don't like the offense. I do think that they have underachieved based on how much talent they have. But I think that game against the Texans was more so being cautious, knowing the game was going to be close, having the defense, wanting to manage it. I don't necessarily think that'll be them the whole year. I think that was more so the game plan there. Wouldn't be shocked at all if it ends up being like what Brandon said, 30-13. Probably will be now that I'm picking them for a lower scoring game. But I think they're going to try with the two guards that are banged up. I don't know if Avila plays. I don't know if Dotson plays. Those guys are very important. Probably going to see Justin Diedick and Bo Limmer taking over those spots. Both guys started last year, quite a few games last year, and were really good. But I think they're going to be cautious in this one. I think they're going to try and establish the run. It was really bothersome, the fact they weren't able to run the football the way they wanted to with Kyren Williams last week. The Texans really just sold out to stop the run. The Titans don't really have to do that as much because, like Brandon mentioned, you have a Tavondre Sweat, you have a Jeffrey Simmons. These guys in the trenches are going to allow them not to have to stack the box. So I do think that they are going to find some running lanes probably late in the game, which is why I like the Kyren more on the yards. But I think this is going to be Matthew Stafford playing mistake-free football, and this defense, I don't know what Cam Ward did to the schedule makers, but man, oh man, having to go against the Denver Broncos defense in the altitude as your debut, and then having to play the Rams defense, and you'll play the Colts next week, and then the Texans, I think that's absolutely insane. I like Cam Ward. I don't think he has enough weapons to beat this Rams defense. CJ Stroud had enough weapons and still couldn't beat this Rams defense. So I'll take the Rams 23-13. And last thing I'll say, I am not overlooking the Titans because I think the Titans, coached by Denard Wilson, I think they have a very good defense. I think they are essentially, if Cam Ward ends up being good this year, this team can be a problem. They have a very good defense. Jarvis Brownlee is somebody that really stands out to me. And there's some other guys as well. Oladejo. I like what I saw from them, and that was no joke. They forced 4 turnovers on the Broncos. I know, Mike, you saw that firsthand, but this defense is legit. And if Cam Ward can get going, I wouldn't want to play the Titans in week 15. I'm more open to playing him in week 2. But when Cam Ward gets going, there's a confidence there. This team might not win the game, but they're not going to make it easy, and they're going to be competitive in many games down the road.
A clean sweep through 3 games. Could we have a rare 4-game clean sweep? Well, we're primed to do it here with the Carolina Panthers on the road in the 4 p.m. window going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Jesse, I'll start with you. The Panthers coming off a loss against Jacksonville where you'd think those two would be more similar than not, and it didn't really look like it. Carolina looked far inferior. Now they're on the road against Arizona. Who gets it done, Carolina or Arizona?
Well, the only quarterback that's smaller than Kyler Murray happens to be on the other side of the field. I am curious to see what he looks like. Talk about a quarterback that's up against it for sure. He's got to perform. He didn't perform well in week 1. I don't know, man. The Cardinals, I would say this could be a potential upset, but not after losing last year. There's no way. They're going to go in there. They know exactly what they got to do. They did lose to this team last year in a very important, crucial part of the season. So there's no way that that's happening again. The Cardinals are going to get out of there with that improved defense. I will go 27-17 Cardinals.
Jesse's got the Cardinals. Brandon, how about you? Carolina, Arizona, who wins it?
Yeah, I think that the Cardinals are going to get this one very easily. I mean, you've got the Panthers quarterback staring at boat races mid-game. He seems so checked out. I got the blue one. I got the blue one. Oh, look at them. They're so pretty. So yeah, that just doesn't look like a Carolina team that is ready to take the big, massive step forward that everybody foresaw. I do think Teteroa McMillan is the truth. But I do think that the Cardinals are ready and primed, and also kind of telling on this one, Z-Bot, that the Vegas odd makers actually have the Cardinals beating this Panther team more than what the Rams are set to beat the Titans by going on the road. I know one's on the road versus playing home, but I think that does speak to Vegas's confidence as well that this team's going to take it and carry the day. I think they're going to run all over Carolina. Carolina doesn't have the pass rush that the Saints had last week to go at the Cardinals in that way. And I just think the defense is going to overwhelm Bryce as far as in that pocket and give him very little daylight to be able to go throw into. So I think this will be a whooping. I'm going to go 27. I'll go with another 27-13 on this one. Feels about right on that one.
Brandon's got a 2-touchdown victory for Arizona in this one. Jake, how are you feeling about this one? Is the Cardinals going to get it done against the Panthers at home?
They are. I want to just add some context here with Carolina. I mean, I know their defense kind of, didn't have it going either, but I think the defense really suffered from the lack of movement on the offensive side. First off, biggest thing, they trade away Adam Thielen. I think when you trade away the player like that, it sends a really bad message to the rest of the locker room. This is a guy that was a captain. This guy was a leader. Just a really bizarre trade to just help the Vikings for no reason. Number two, Ike Ekwonu, okay, they're stud at left tackle. Their blindside protector for Bryce Young gets an appendix. I can't even say the word, but anyway, he had to have his appendix removed, right? I wasn't trying that again.
Make him say it, Z-Bot. Make him say it. What is it?
An appendectomy, I believe, is what he was going for.
Yeah, so
he bailed him out, Z-Bot.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play, and immediately Josh Neiman looked like Josh Neiman. So, unfortunately for Bryce Young, he was pressured all day, right? And it wasn't good. Now, he put himself in trouble, but I think he's going to look better when Ekwonu is at left tackle, rightfully so. But is that this week? I have the Cardinals winning regardless, 27-13. I think they're the better team. I think Carolina, if they're going to figure this out, it's going to be probably the middle of the season when they start winning those games that they should win. I will say, despite the injury, not injury, but the health concern with Ikem Ekwonu, I'm just going to be honest here. That was disgusting. That was a terrible performance. I don't know if the weather had anything to do with it because I know there was a weather delay, but the Jaguars seem so locked in and the Panthers seem so far away. And I guess you just have to point the finger at the ownership and just kind of what the hell's going on in Carolina, because they used to be a respected organization. If they don't turn this thing around, I feel for their fans, man. I really do.
Mike, the rare quad clean sweep comes down to you, and it's on the shoulders of your Cardinals. I got a feeling you're locking it in. Carolina, Arizona, who's winning it Sunday afternoon?
Well, I mean, I just want to kind of
jinx it.
Right. I don't like that everybody went Cardinals. I don't like that. But here's the thing. Like, when it comes down to this team, like, this is the perfect way that the Cardinals need to find some sort of way to try to make some sort of postseason run, right? You got to take advantage of the games you need to win. Now, everybody mentioned last year, right? That was a very pivotal game for the Arizona Cardinals, and that was a dagger in the heart. You ain't going nowhere, right? So I think Kyler Murray's got that behind his mind, and I'm actually really glad that we played the Saints, and they played us as hard as we did to remind them to not overlook any of these teams. The Panthers are the same team that beat us last year and completely took away any playoff hopes that we had. Now, I want to go and do a little history here. Since the Arizona Cardinals have played the Panthers since 2015, we are 1-7 against those Panthers. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It could be Bryce Young. It could be Cam Newton off the street. It doesn't matter. For some reason, the Panthers always seem to beat us. But I got my Redbirds finally getting it right this time around. I do have the Cardinals winning this game. First home opener of the 2025 season. The crowd is coming in. Juice had a really hard fought, gritty game versus the Saints. This is going to be different. There's going to be more points, I could feel like here. I say the Cardinals win 27-21. I still do think the Panthers are going to be scoring some points, but 27-21 Cards.
There you have it. All 4 week 2 games within the division have their predictions locked in. And if it goes the way the fellas are thinking, it's going to be one happy NFC West roundtable this time.
Well, Brandon's going to be pissed off.
Except for Brandon. Except for Brandon.
And he's going to have to wear that freaking hat next week. I can't.
Oh, wearing the hat.
I'm
wearing the hat. Effing far from okay. No, I'm pretty effing far from okay.
Here I am sitting here with the clean sweeps, 3 straight with the in division teams, and here I am forgetting that everybody chose Pittsburgh.
Can we get a Christopher Walken reacting to if they lose week 2?
Please.
I won't be surprised. It's not now. It's not never. But they're not going to be good today. Maybe tomorrow. Not. I don't care anymore. Just watching anymore. Who cares? What is this game? Sucks.
Man. Next week could be something, Brandon, with the hat. All 4 of you guys, including yourself, by the way.
Never change, Brandon.
Watkins going to be unhappy wearing that stupid hat. And when you look at it and watch it, I hope it all brings a smile to your face, because I'm going to be frowning even if we win. Breaking my virginity here. Popping my Niner hat cherry. No.
I can't wait to see that hat, by the way. We have been, and by the way, if you joined late, I saw some comments that I missed the hat. Did I miss the hat? You didn't miss the hat. What you did miss is that we were given a hint that it is not any ordinary ball cap that you can pick up at off the shelf of lids. So from what I've been told, this is going to be something. So you're going to want to tune in next week to check it out. All right.
One word.
Go ahead, Brandon.
One word. Unisex.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Wow. I got to tell you, that's doing nothing for me right now. I'm going to have to think about that hard, because I don't know what that could possibly mean. But it's
got to be a rainbow hat. It's got to. No.
I was hoping you ponied up for the gigantic hat, but I don't know. We're going to see something special, that's for sure. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, hour 25 in the books. You know what that means. It's time for the best part of the show. It's Super Chat time. Brandon, could you please lead me in?
Let's go.
No, he's not on it tonight. Damn it!
I'm not on it, man. See, I'm gonna lost.
He's losing it.
I got the problems going tonight.
He's looking in the mirror, thinking about how he's going to look in that hat. He's a little distracted.
I can't. I'm lost. Yeah, I'm just like it's coming, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Let's start with my main man, Dangerous Dave. He's saying, I said I'd wear a Hawks hat. Who wears a Niners one? Well, Brandon's going to be the one wearing the Niners one next week. Unisex is the lone hint we have. You'll have to tune in to see what exactly that means next Tuesday night. Feed me more. It always is a good day when Z-Bot is on my screen. Well, oh, my God, that just made my day. Feed me more. Thanks so much. It's always a good day to have you in for the NFC West Roundtable. All the fellas appreciate you, as do I. And I wish your Seahawks could have been, could have done a little bit more for you, but maybe this upcoming week. But according to the panel, it might be a tough Tuesday next week as well. We shall see. I think there's got to be at least one jinx in there, fellas. Who it's going to be, I don't know.
Everyone leave a Z in the comment section if Z-Bot warms your heart every single Tuesday.
You got a happy Z-Bot. You would have gotten a different version if that game went even a split second different the other night. Unbelievable what we witnessed on Sunday night. Mark Sanchez, I'm sure he watched Sunday night. He's saying, I'm here with UB. With you, Brandon, I'm assuming. We'll take it on the chin, damn it. He's wearing it, Brandon. Mark's wearing it.
On the chin, but, our team.
You blew it!
Look at all those Z's, Z-Bot.
Oh, man. Look at that. Yeah, that's that nice, raspy, cigarette-sounding voice. I know it soothes all your hearts. It warms them.
Big booty bot.
BBL
Big booty bot.
Coming to a stadium near you in less than a month. Jason Shire. Can't wait to see Brandon in that Niners hat, man. The anticipation's building, Brandon. It's building.
It's going to look awful.
You can tell.
I'll be in a vomitous state pretty much the whole stream. Probably barely able to talk, frankly.
I can tell you're not looking forward to it, but I keep seeing you grin every time it's brought up. There's something about you that, you're
No, let's make no mistake. I'm putting a good face on it, C-Bot. This is me being professional right now, because there's double birds that I want to throw to Jesse. I want to show my ass. I'm fighting all urges here at every turn, but I'm keeping it together, my man.
Brandon is a good sport. He's a company man. He's killing it tonight. Dangerous Dave, 31st quarterback, almost lost to 32nd, but Salah is better. Wow. So he's got Purdy and Darnold in the basement of the quarterback hierarchy, but he got it done. Your boy Lyle got it done. Dangerous Dave. Alex coming in. I mentioned earlier that since Jesse basically nailed the Niners-Hawks game to a T, that I believe he did win the Mega Millions, and there will be signs, even though he wanted under an alias. Yeah, and Alex thinks his alias is Ball. I like that. He does. He knows it. He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. Larry Woodard coming in. Give me a round of applause here, Brandon, because he just gifted 5 NFC West.
Let's go.
Larry's the man.
Unbelievable. Awfully generous of you, Larry. We appreciate you. 5 NFC West Roundtable memberships gifted by my main man, Larry. Let's send it over to Jordan. He's saying Seattle lost to Jeff Fisher D teams with Pete Carroll or struggled mightily. Sometimes rosters don't matter with divisional games. Real quick, Brandon, your thoughts?
It's a fair point. I think it is a little bit, though, underselling a little bit of where the Niner roster's at, especially where the Niner roster has been in prior years. And what them walking in this game with all of the rookies starting in certain spots, it's just, it's not that it's a bad roster, that somehow the Niners aren't still very strong, but they were as vulnerable, and you should have been as strong to overtake them right now as ever over these past few years. It's not us 3 years ago starting the rebuild. This is the time where it's starting to let's lock this thing in.
Marky Mark back in the building. Hawks used to be a preseason or used a preseason scheme on game day. You were not impressed with what you saw though from that angle, right, Brandon? You just did not like when they threw up.
The shotgun stuff just blows me away. I mean, the origins of this West Coast offense are in under center. It's begrudgingly taken on more shotgun through the years, but it's not like the air raid where everything's just set up to be in shotgun. It's an offense set up to be under center ideally.
Greatness 54. He's here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to watch Jesse celebrate. He's here for the Jesse victory lap. Go Niners, says Greatness 54. Duce coming in with a banger. Let's clap it up for Duce. This is a banger. He's being a little critical of himself here. He's saying the only prediction I made that was wrong. Oh, he's praising himself rather. The only prediction he made that was wrong was the Hawks versus Niners. I have to apologize to Jesse now. What a guy. What a guy Duce is, Jesse.
Listen, if the hat bet is on the line, you can guarantee I'm winning. I'm undefeated in these things, all right? I don't lose.
I'm wondering, are there going to be more hat bets in the future, or are people going to shy away from Jesse here?
Listen, if anybody wants a shot at the crown, we can do it.
There's
your guys' turn on this one.
100% chance of me doing a hat bet.
Yeah,
we watched that Bills-Ravens game. That's exactly why you don't do it. Anything can happen in the National Football League.
That game was
Screw that. I will no. It will never happen. I don't care how confident I am in the Rams to win any game. I would give my dad a heart attack if he saw me wearing a Niners hat. That will never happen. Will not happen.
Cowards.
You cannot make a hat bet with Matt Prater kicking on the opposite sideline. You simply cannot do it.
That's for sure.
We have Simo Zhen. I think I might have gotten that right. Probably not. If Seahawks offense didn't purposely not use the plays they wanted to use, question mark. I see the Chiefs pregame, and this didn't feel anything like that game. So are Seahawks playing a long game or faking it out? Could there be some strategy to what the Seahawks did this past weekend, Brandon?
Hard of me to see it. You prepare all game. I mean, especially for the first game of the year, you're setting up that game plan far in advance, also knowing what you're going to get in Saleh and know what you're going to get from Shanahan offensively. So I don't know if I can get there. For me, it's more of, I think he probably overthought himself a little bit. He was probably anticipating Saleh doing this. And he's like, well, I'll counter with shotgun to that. And it just ends up that you end up in a strategy taking you far from home, far from what you do as far as at your best, your bread and butter. But it was that, and it was striking to see.
Daza, good to see you in the building, saying another Niners year of boring and uninspired offensive play and an awful offensive line, injuries, and a mobile Jimmy G. Only the defense is a bright spot. Is there a bit more than just the defense here, Jesse, that we should be excited about?
Yeah, I think so. This is a little doom and gloom. And it's Hemi G. God, I don't know why people just can't get this right. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, listen, I mean, Brock Purdy, the fan base is still split on Brock Purdy. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to bag on him. He did enough to win the game. We'll see how it is going forward.
Well, Himmy G, Jimmy G, we did get our Himmy Jimmy G saying in today. We always like to keep track of that. It feels like we're getting at least one of those a week, despite not seeing him out on the field. Larry, back in. I love my Niners and Jesse. I will say Brandon is a real one. I watched his show after Jesse's, of course, but he is a fair analyst. And then there is Jake. Mike, you're cool too. Go Niners.
Shit.
Touching all the bases there is Larry.
I thought I was pretty fair to everybody. So
I thought you were fair tonight.
That was
Definitely
pretty good.
yeah.
Hold on here. Where's my
Shots fired!
Was that Kevin Harlan?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Petition for him to call every single Rams game the rest of the year. He
he's the best.
he was such a blast.
He calls every game like it's the Super Bowl. He does a terrific job.
He's the greatest thing ever. And where does he hail from? KU.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
He's a
sir.
Jayhawk. Well, speaking of the greatest things ever, the
does
greatest
Paul Rudd.
YouTube
Very
username,
awesome.
prawn sausage. I'm still a bit in pain from the Hawks game. Jesse's prediction was insanely on point. I felt it the majority of the game. Love y'all. Go Hawks. The love is mutual, Bronze.
Appreciate you.
You'll
Bronze.
get past it. Rear view. 0-1,
Kudos.
but week 2's around the corner. Mike?
Kudos to the Seahawks fans that are in the chat. A lot of times they don't show up, especially because they're the only ones that didn't win. But kudos to the guys that actually stood up there, man. Good for you guys.
Oh yeah.
I love it. They needed a little therapy tonight, so I'm loving it. They're coming and getting it from Brandon, who's shooting it straight, and we appreciate all the Seahawks fans coming in despite the L. Josh chiming in. Saints perfected the dink and dunk, averaging 2 seconds at time of passing the ball. Niners have to be ready for long drives. Staley will blitz Purdy and force him to make bad decisions, but the Niners will be ready. Anything on that, Jesse? What do you think? Pretty fair?
Yeah, I mean I think it's a fair assessment. Yeah. I mean, he's right. Obviously, 47 dropbacks, 1 sack. That's a big reason why. I just think Rattler's going to make some mistakes in this game. I expect at least 1 turnover, so we'll see.
Yeah, like you mentioned, just under 50 attempts. There's got to be bound to be a mistake in there at some point. Mike?
I'm just gonna say, like, just don't overlook this team. Like, don't be like, oh, we can win without Purdy. No, this
No,
team
not
is
without Purdy.
legit.
No. Listen,
Okay.
if Purdy doesn't play, they're not winning the game.
Yeah,
But I think he's going to play.
Roger Morales. Vibes at SoFi were perfect this past Sunday. Ready to run it back with y'all week 5. That's what I'm talking about, Roger.
Let's go.
Roger's not kidding. It was loud.
Yeah.
It was freaking loud. I give him a lot of credit. And I saw the videos. I mean, I understand it's the Texans. They don't travel, say, as well as the 49ers, but no, it was freaking loud there. We love that.
Roger christened the stadium for us. We'll see him in a few weeks at the same place he was at week 1. SoFi, we cannot wait. Now, we're talking positive about the Rams, but pretty good. He's got some other thoughts. 14 Lambs to 9 Texans. Jake's reason for the 14 points is the refs and the 86 Bears defense. They had to play. Got it. He's not buying the fact that the 14 points was satisfactory to you, Jake.
Did he mean the 85 Bears?
85.
That's what I
Bears,
thought.
probably.
I haven't heard the 86 Bears ever be bringing up.
I've
but-
never heard the 86 Bears to win an argument, but be that as it may, no, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't care. They won. They could have won. I was saying this to Rams fans who were complaining. They could have won 2-0. I don't care. You beat a good Texans team. And by the way, 1-4 was their record against teams that DeMeco Ryans was calling the defense for. I'm sure you can guess why. So I'll take that. I will.
Freddie K. I couldn't be here last week, but happy to be here today with y'all and a Rams W. Freddie, we're happy to be here with you as well. Congrats to your Rams. Good to see you tonight. Samir, he's hopping in. Question for everyone but Jesse.
Hold, just to be clear, Samir is the one that found the hat, so kudos to him. Brandon, you can thank
Thanks,
Samir
Sarah.
for
Thanks,
this.
Samir. Thank you for
Wow.
that. It's awesome. No, really. I just bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Man, Samir, he's like a fashion designer. He's like a what do they have? Like Joe Burrow had one. What do they call him? A stylist? Is it? Yeah, stylist.
The
Yeah,
official
Samir's
NFC
the
West
stylist for
hat
this.
bet
Yeah.
fashion designer.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
So
Samir,
inventive. Such a digger, that Samir. Such a digger. Always going
Samir-
text.
aka the official stylist of the NFC West Roundtable, has a question for everyone but Jesse. Do you prefer when your teams are facing Brock when he's slinging it and taking chances, or when he's playing conservative and settling for the easy check down instead? Brandon, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that the conversation around the fan base of the Niners with Brock Purdy changes considerably if Tariq Woolen jumps forward and not backwards on that touchdown, because that day goes from being just a 2-interception day to a 3-interception day, and you lose the game on top of it. It's wild how one play can kind of swing a fan base's look to one player in that way a little bit. So when you say, what would I prefer? I want him like that. I want him slinging, because I think he'll give you a couple of throws over the course of the game if you're having him do that. If I've got him under control and Shanahan getting him to his first read and he can just get the ball out of his hand quick, I still think that's where Brock said is deadliest. It's not that Brock can't do the stuff where he's back there slinging a little bit. I think he's shown that the last year in this game. But it's just that he probably will then give you a couple of those throws where that arm strength will come into play. It'll feel a little bit light, and you'll pay the price there for it.
Jake, you feel the same way?
I feel like I've done a 180 on Brock Purdy. I used to defend him like crazy. I don't feel like he's the same quarterback since the Tommy John surgery. I just don't. And he doesn't move me 1 millimeter. If the Rams faced him and he was throwing it all over the yard, or if he played it conservative, I think in the past, the Rams defenses, they struggled tackling in the open field. That conservative nature could be a problem. I think they're ready to beat any form of Brock Purdy. So I think it's a great question, but playing conservative, checking down, or slinging it, I just don't think it would matter against this team.
What about you, Mike? You in lockstep with these fellas?
No, I would take the slinging it, man. I think I have a lot of confidence in my defense, man. Will Johnson should have had an interception. I don't know if you guys saw the game, but it got called back by ticky-tacky illegal contact by Max Melton. But no, I'm excited.
That was terrible.
Yeah, bad, horrible.
Terrible
I
call.
would take my guys. Sling that ball. Let's make some mistakes.
You reminded me how bad that call was.
The West defense held opponents under 13 points. Is this just week one randomness? Good young defense for West rising, strength of teams, a combination of everything? Yeah, I mean, it was good defense across the board this weekend. You got to think it's probably a little bit of everything that he put there, right? A little bit of young, a little bit of youth, a little bit of good D all around, opponent, right? Week one flukiness.
Every team in this division has put at the most resources you could say. They've also put resources the offensive side of the ball, but they've tried to build up a great defense. Everybody in the division here, whether they accomplish that or not. And that's certainly why I think you see it's not just a little bit of resources, the Cardinals and all they've put in, the Niners with all the picks to the defensive side, the top of their draft, and that Rams defensive line and all they've done. So it's purposeful.
Ruiz, by the way, who said this? Actually, no, Ryan, excuse me. He said only 184 likes. We had over 700 people in here at one point. Smash that like button while we're running through the super chats. 184, that's weak. I know you guys can do better than that, especially with the numbers in here. So go ahead and pound that.
Vision Quest wants you to repeat what you said, Z-Bot. Good what?
Good. What did I say?
Good D.
Yeah. Hit me with the pause button. He hit me with the pause button.
Yeah,
good D. Yeah. There's a lot of good D in the NFC West.
The big booty bots telling you about the good D. You want to listen.
Oh, right. Z-Bot, you didn't bring up the most important thing that happened this week.
Tell me about it.
The Atlanta Falcons lost.
The Atlanta Falcons did lose.
Atlanta Falcons hate watching. Number 1 overall pick. Let's go.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir.
I know Brandon was tuning into that. He loves that. He loves that.
How about my guy, Emeka Egbuka, who's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, like I said.
Balling. He balled out.
Oh,
yes. Touchdowns for Emeka Egbuka. Game winner, too. Man.
Special player.
Jackson coming in. He's putting it simply as he can. Go Cardinals. That's what he's got. Feed me more. Nick Irinwari, 4 snaps, 1 tackle for loss before being hurt. Look out.
Yeah, change the scope of this game because you've had Witherspoon outside at camp, practicing at camp, and then not only now did you lose your slot, but then he had to kick into the slot, and it sort of disrupted a little bit. And I think Witherspoon was a bit out of position than when he had been gotten used to playing that outside.
Didn't come up yet today, but Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, they get the W over the New England Patriots this past weekend. Kyan saying Geno is making some baller throws out there. Russ is cooked. Sam looked decent. How's your outlook on Purdy, Jesse? He made big plays and also threw 3 awful balls. I think, Jesse, you said it was even 4 awful balls that you saw from him, but you still liked what you saw, in totality, right, from Purdy this past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, he plays with moxie. He's stays even keel. He's not afraid of the moment, that's for sure. Listen, Brock Purdy is what he is. People, you got two extremes on him. Some people say he sucks. Some people think he's like borderline elite. I don't know what the hell those people are watching. But he's top.
And then there's a guy who thinks he's beyond borderline elite.
Yeah, he's between 9 and 13 depending on the week, and that's just he's good. He's a good quarterback. He's not a franchise guy. He's whatever. He's fine.
Aiden coming in.
I just see that smooth.
Aiden A.
Talking through the pain.
Exactly right. Every one of these so-called ESPN analysts picked the Texans over the Rams. Mainstream media always doubting us Rams. Nothing new. Just wait till we go off. I didn't realize that. It's kind of a tough game for a clean sweep picking the Texans.
The entire ESPN panel picked them because they said Matthew Stafford's back in the secondary. And this is why
I feel like no one's paid attention to the Texans offensive line throughout the offseason.
No, they haven't. I realized that over the course of the week, Brandon. I was like, wait a minute. I haven't paid enough attention. I'm watching the film and I'm like, oh, this is not good. So it was.
I mean, you dumped your best player off a horrible offensive line.
I don't understand. The goal is to protect the quarterback. You have CJ Stroud. You have your quarterback. I don't know what they're doing. Ed Ingram at right guard, then he's banged up, so they have to move Titus Howard back. Then they're moving Ariante Ursary, who was supposed to start at left tackle. He goes to right tackle right before the game. And then they have Cam Robinson at left tackle. And, oh, dude, it was like... And Laken Tomlinson, who hasn't been good since the 49ers. I don't like bad personnel decisions. They're really ruining it because I think the Texans are really well coached. Every unit looks great. The offensive line is killing them.
I can attest to it. Your offensive line's crap. You ain't going nowhere. Just point blank. We've gone down this road in my team a couple times in recent years. You're going nowhere. Doesn't matter what else you have around them. You're going nowhere.
Megan says, Z-Bot warms my heart, but not as much as Brandon. That's tough competition, Megan. I mean, I'm fine being number 2 in that race because Brandon warms the heart of everybody, especially on nights like tonight where he's smiling through the pain. Brandon's the man. He's warming the hearts of Hawks Nation this evening. HHG, seems as though Lamar is in playoff form after that Bills game.
Listen, you can say what you want, but watching those two guys, it is a clear difference between, I guess you could throw Mahomes in there, but the Burrow talk should be dead by now. Burrow it's not a big 4 anymore.
Half in that game.
It is not a big 4. It's a big 3. That's simple. And Lamar and Josh Allen are special talents. Those guys are absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, obviously from a Bills fan perspective, Sunday night was fun, but even if you're that was one of those games where I took away from it, regardless of where you're at on the spectrum of fandom, that's one of those games you can't not watch and walk away saying, how could you not love this game? I mean, that was just one of those games where it just had everything that really makes you understand why everybody is obsessed with the NFL like we are and like everybody tuning in tonight. Speaking of the Bills game, pretty good coming in. Z-Bot, unlike some Bills fans, I stayed in my seat and watched the Bills come back in a epic battle of the NFL's top 2 teams. Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen afterwards, post-game presser, he put it best. Have a little faith next time. That's what 17.
What traffic are you having to beat in Buffalo?
You want to know what? Here's the thing, Brandon. There's one road out of there. That's it.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. So you pull out and it's Sunday night. I think here's the thing though. People were leaving with the Bills getting the ball back. If it was the opposite, maybe I could wrap my head around it, but you can't be doing that. Not the way they were moving the ball in the second half. So
why is Josh Allen not the MVP favorite? I don't understand. I think people overdo it. I saw that dude on CBS who had Brock Purdy. I saw another guy who had Joe Burrow seems like the favorite for people. And I like Joe Burrow a ton. But Josh Allen is the best player in the National Football player, not just quarterback, player in the National Football League. I don't know why he wasn't the favorite. We watch him every Sunday. I had Lamar Jackson as my number 1 quarterback in that draft. So, as much as I'd love to be right, I think I was right about Lamar being great. I was so wrong about Josh Allen, and I'll stand here and admit it. I did not think he would be this good. I'm genuinely blown away. I think he's better than Patrick Mahomes, and I think there's actually a little bit of room in between them. I really do.
Well,
I think he's that
not
good.
Wrong. You're not wrong, by the way, Jake. Updated odds are out, and after what we saw after what we saw on Sunday night, updated odds are in. Josh Allen is your MVP favorite right now through week 1, plus 310, which are pretty low odds for only one game being in the books. Lamar Jackson, number 2, Burrow 3, plus 800. So actually, there's a pretty sizable gap there, which is wild. And I think we know if it comes down to Lamar and Allen again, this will be the game that'll split it. Of course, we all know that narratives like that end up being the difference maker.
Tiebreaker for sure.
Yeah. Alex, man, we got a lot of love coming in for them Buffalo Bills. Come on, guys. Let's talk about the Bills for bot. I mean, I think we can all agree here. Yeah, we did. That's the way to put it. What we witnessed Sunday, Bills fan or not, I mean, that was one hell of a ride. The Bills.
I'll take that in the conference championship as a repeat.
You imagine? I'll just
That'd
say
be
that.
fun.
If you're not a Bills fan, then the one way to put it would be the Bills lose that game every single time. They lost a similar game in terms of, excitement to Mike's Cardinals not that long ago on the Hal Murray, Vikings overtime, 13 seconds, Music City Miracle, multiple Chiefs games in heartbreaking fashion. The Bills finally got one of those to go their way, and it was great to see.
Hey,
Chacho. Back in the Frank Reich days before the last time the Bills pulled one of these off.
The all-time comeback, right?
Z-Bot, you seeing that comment?
Which one?
Jake, but Allen ain't win a Super Bowl. LOL, never will. That's
who's he?
What if the referees are going to guide the Chiefs back to the Super Bowl again?
My guy Chacho is throwing shade at your Bills. I don't know what else to say.
Chacho. I mean, Chacho, you watched Josh Allen come into SoFi last year despite a losing effort and pretty much do whatever he wanted. So I don't know how. If you're at that point now, at this point of his career, then you're locked into it. There's nothing that's going to change your mind. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know what you could say.
He's a Ravens fan, so to be fair. So.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to tell you, in a weird way, the Bills are, knock on wood, because I don't want to jinx it, but they have beaten the Ravens in very Chiefs ways, the way the Chiefs have beaten the Bills. If you go back and look at the way the Bills have beaten Baltimore, it's heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. So I don't blame you, Chacho. I'd be upset if I were you. And ultimately, we're both upset at the end of the year every year. So hopefully one of us is happy when it's all said and done. Varinar, he's saying demote Lyle to OC and promote Saleh to head coach. Yeah, we've seen that work out real well in the past, Byron, right? What do you think about that, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. If Shanahan were to get fired, a lot of people were like, "Oh, promote Saleh." It's like, no, it'll be somebody else. It'll be Joe Brady or somebody.
Yeah, we don't have a sample size within the last 7 months to be able to kind of roll that one out. But you never know what's in the future out in Santa Clara. Dangerous Dave saying, I called the Bills game. My ex is a Ravens fan, and she was bragging about how they were going to win. I said, no, they're not. And I can show Jesse the text. Told her Bills had the momentum and will win. Dangerous Dave's spite towards his ex-girlfriend prevailed. Help the Bills get over the hump, 41-40. Appreciate it, Dave. Feed me more. Z-Bot, how is TD doing? Is Daniel Jones in his dreams?
Damn.
Well,
TD's over there talking trash about our roundtable because he's trying to go off the back of how bad the Dolphins are doing.
Yeah, they're garbage.
That's the first thought I had. The Dolphins might be the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
they're so bad.
And by the way,
is so ass. Oh my god,
he's regressing every start I see. They keep saying, "Oh, he'll get better."
Tyreek Hill caught another charge today. By the way, another one. So it's nonstop, like just an avalanche right now. And Mike McDaniel's comments afterwards, where he's like basically, "Oh, can't get much worse than this." Like, dude, it's week 1. Like, it probably could. You just played Daniel Jones. I mean. God only knows. I will say, though, to those interested in how TD's feeling, 1 week from Thursday night, I will be sitting in a box suite right next to TD to watch those Buffalo Bills play those Miami Dolphins in person. So I will have an update for you as to how he handles that game.
Oh, man.
Get back from that, because that's going to be a ride.
They're honestly, I don't care what team you're a fan of. If you're not subscribed to TD's channel to watch him during these live games, there is no better entertainment. I promise you.
Also a must follow on Twitter, former Patriots YouTuber Master at Work. Throughout the Dolphins game, I almost want to tip him for it because he does such a great job. He clips TD's reaction, within 5 minutes of something bad happening with the Dolphins. So if TD throws a pick or if Tua throws a pick, Master at Work will tweet the clip of TD reacting to it within 5 minutes. So
that's not a big if.
No, you're right.
When he throws a pick.
We got 3 turnovers from Tua on Sunday. That's when I knew football was back. Megan, she's coming in saying 2 a.m. start for the Steelers out in Aussie. Talk me into getting up. It's 16 days to the trip, and I need all the sleep I can get for a huge weekend in Sydney. Brandon, give our girl Megan a little pep talk here. She's got to get up for that game.
Well, the hope here too can be that, look, the Jets ran the ball well. If we commit back to running the ball, maybe they've got some natural holes you can find there. And the Steelers, as good as that offense played on the day, was not pass protecting Aaron Rodgers well. And so if there's 2 places you can maybe get some inroads in on the Steeler team, those would be my 2 spots. And that maybe you can get that pressure. Rodgers ain't mobile as much anymore, so you can certainly get after him. And that Steeler line they're going to run the ball a lot, but I don't know if they're going to be great in pass pro.
Megan, it's only week 1. You got to set that alarm. You got to get up. You never know what's coming around the corner.
And we could have watched a TD clip, dude. Oh my God, he hit his desk so hard the camera shut off.
I think it's his son in the background laughing too. Like someone's just dying laughing while it's happening. Like it's elite
the
stuff.
The reactions are so good. It's so good.
Unreal. I mean, nobody does it better.
They really don't. And it's so genuine. That's the best part about it. He's just being himself. It's so good.
The clip Thursday Night Football when Tua he was throwing it away against the Bills and it wound up being a pick 6. It is the greatest thing on the history of the internet. I swear, there's nothing that beats it.
That is the best one.
You know what I'm talking about?
So the one he's hiding behind his chair. Yeah,
he literally
goes like this,
like that. He literally, dude, he literally glitches out. He completely glitches. I've never seen anything like it. It's the best. Oh my God.
Oh man. That's funny.
Another one. I'm starting to like Brand Man even more. The traffic line made me laugh out loud. We got a couple of zingers coming in here towards the end of the show. We're all tired and we're all starting to laugh a little bit more than usual. Larry coming in hot tonight, by the way. Gifted a bunch of subs and dropping off some super chats along the way. Never mind, Jake is fine. He found out Allen is good. He's good in our book, Larry, isn't he? He's a big Josh Allen guy, Jake. He loves it.
I love watching Josh Allen. He's fun to watch.
Oh, man.
Jake, you're a football fan. I mean, it's people who hate watching the guy. It's like, do you even like the sport? I don't know. It's like watching the other night. Everybody's walking away ripping on Lamar. I'm like, he just made one of the greatest plays I've ever seen, evading that sack. How can you walk away ripping on the guy? He didn't turn it over. He didn't, whatever.
Yeah, well, people don't realize that you only get these guys every now and then. I mean, it's like LeBron James. I understand people have issues with his flopping and whatnot, but just look at the athletic profile that he has. We're not going to see that ever again into his 40s playing at the level he's playing. It's truthfully insane. It's just I don't know, appreciate it because everyone kind of has their own stars and whatnot, but there have been eras where there hasn't been as many stars and the same type of guys. And, I know guys will come along, but, I don't think there's going to be guys exactly like Josh Allen. I think there'll be guys that try to play like Josh Allen, but there's never going to be another Josh Allen. I think he's just kind of one of a kind.
Totally agree. You look at the NBA right now, the UFC, they have a star problem, right? We are so lucky right now in the NFL with the faces that we have, including Josh Allen, but there's so many more. It's just a great time to be a football fan. Mark Sanchez, he's saying the Hawks need improvement, but hey, at least we're not the Dolphins, Brandon. How about that?
True. It's dark for that team right now. It's like, man, there's the hope at.
There is no light at the end of that tunnel. Thank God. No, CD Woods, going to be hard to go 17-0 now. It's
a little bit of a bump in that road. It does, but we got 16 more. 16-1 still sounds good.
Well, the best record we've ever seen is 16 wins in a regular season, Brandon. So you still have that on the table, at least. We haven't seen
right there. It's within our grasp. I mean, it's practically right there. It's just I got to reach out and take it.
Well, we're going to reach out and thank you for tuning in tonight. And we're going to take you into next week, recapping week 2, the same place you're at right here. A lot to tune in for next week. Because we had a clean sweep across our predictions in all 4 games. All 4 of the fellas had the exact same prediction for all 4 games, so we got to tune in to see if they got it right. And on top of that, the main event, we got Brandon rocking the cap next week, the hat, the unisex hat, handpicked by the NFC West's very own stylist. So you're going to need to tune in to see that.
Samir!
Week 2 recap coming your way a week from tonight on the NFC West Roundtable. Also, before we head out of here, link in the description below. When I tell you there's maybe 2 tickets left, I mean it. We are this close to selling out. If you're on the fence about coming to the NFC West Roundtable event, we're 23 days out from the game. Buy that ticket. Do not hesitate. They're going to be gone within hours to a day or so here. So make sure to take advantage while there are a couple still remaining. But with that said, like button on the way out if you could. Subscribe button on the way out if you could. And other than that, that's going to do it for the fellas here on the week 1 recap episode of the NFC West Roundtable. We can't wait to see you next week. For Brandon, Mike, Jesse, and Jake, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning into the NFC West Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.
Go Cards.
Go Hawks.